Oh, fuck. Sorry.
The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan, I wish I knew how to quit you.
Shall we play a game?
Welcome to another episode of Nude Clan, the podcast with the plan, Caleb. I got a plan. You just gotta believe.
Trust me, Caleb. We have a plan for this year. You just gotta trust in the plan.
We got a plan.
I just need money and faith.
No. This is actually our cry to listeners. Come on, listeners. We have a plan. We will be a normal podcast again. You gotta put faith in the plan.
We need faith, listeners.
All this dissension is just driving me insane. You gotta have faith.
Today we are reviewing, I am Caleb.
I'm also Caleb.
And I'm Dutch Vanderland.
And today, nice to have you on the show, Dutch. We are reviewing Red Dead Redemption 2, the mega hit from last year, of course, the game of the year for many publications.
God of War actually won the DICE Awards for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah.
It's just like any other show, that comes out while this is the thing, like with like Game of the Years and people like mad about snubs. It sucks because there are so many times where there are good things that come out at the same time that like the greatest thing has come out, Like the 95 Utah Jazz, possibly the second greatest team ever, happened to be with the greatest team ever the same year, Chicago Bulls. You fucking lose. And that's what you go down in history as remembered as is fucking losing. Because you guys weren't even the best that year. It's like, yeah, but we could fuck up any other year since then. And before then, we were just second to the gods from Chicago. So for me, Red Dead 2, I don't know if Red Dead 2 is necessarily that way, but God of War deserves to win.
God of War
things.
deserves to win. That's exactly it.
But I agree with some of the wins that Red Dead 2 got in the Game Awards. Though.
We'll discuss
soundtrack, best voice actor. They got some great stuff in there. But overall Game of the Year, I'm fine with that.
I wonder if they proofread the script and then saw how many times the word plan was used. And they didn't go, maybe we use the word plan too much. Maybe we should throw in scheme every now and then.
I got a plot, Arthur.
Plot.
I got a ploy.
Just change things up, just to make it sound like,
less plotty.
I'm scheming something, Arthur. You just gotta trust me.
You just gotta believe.
You gotta believe in the machinations, Arthur.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were gonna get caught up on that shit. Understandably so.
It's like the entire game.
It's like you're trying to read Wheel of Time and all you can see is
she folded her arms.
Well, yeah, that's like I brought that up before. Like when I was playing it, it's like. You get the books where the writers have the one quirk, and then it's just like Dutch the entire fucking game.
But I think it's actually leading into more about Dutch and what Dutch was going through mentally, so we can talk about it later.
I think it's also more similar to David Eddings and Naturally.
Yes, I hate that.
Naturally.
I hate that so much.
Naturally isn't the only one he does too.
And then Redemption of Athalas.
He has multiple.
The Redemption of Athalas book, where it's just like little old me thing that would be.
It's just little old me. Naturally. It's like.
Exactly.
There's just one more in that book too, and I can't remember what it is.
You know what's great, Craig? The other day I went into the break room, and there's this older lady that just transferred in, and she was reading a book, and I was like, that kind of looks like the David Eddings book's font. I'm like, that would be kind of weird, though. It's this older lady. And then I, like, walk around, and then I look at the book, and I'm like, oh, my God, she's reading, like, the third one in the Malorian series. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, there's just some lady that I have a connection with at work now. I'm like, yeah, it's a great series, huh? And she's like, yeah, have you read the standalone ones? I'm like, yeah, those are great, too. Mm-hmm. The Polgara and...
the Sorcerer. I mean, they're not really standalone.
Bulgarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more like supplemental, just seeing what they were doing.
I mean, they
scenes.
also have, like, the prologue and the epilogues that are like tie-ins to the
True.
books that take place after the events. But yeah, I mean,
true. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy.
So that's cool. This week, the neighborhood I live in has been hit by a swarm of minor earthquakes. So.
Oh, that's
a swarm.
Yeah. So
would you say a swarm?
It's around 100.
Is there a hive?
Around 100 earthquakes had happened in this area, and 8 of them were large enough to be felt, ranging from 2.1 to about 4.0.
Wow.
So, yeah, it just makes us think about the big one that's supposed to happen at some point. So
yeah, I don't know. With those big ones, I mean, it's kind of like the big one that's supposed to set off fucking...
The Wasatch Front.
No, not the Wasatch Front. I'm talking about the big one that's supposed to, like, extinct...
Set off the super volcano in Yellowstone?
Yeah, like, they're like, oh, it's overdue. And it's like, yeah, it's overdue, but our, like, tens of thousands of years is like a blink of an eye to the planet. So, like, overdue is a big fucking range. It's not that... We shouldn't be prepared for that, although I don't know what preparation we can make other than having fucking air canisters and gas masks on the ready.
I mean,
got your go bag, you know. It's like, well, I'm going to live. That would be the only thing you could do in that situation. Until the dust settled, you'd have to be breathing canisters of air, or you would be smothered.
I mean,
you would suffocate.
Depends. I mean, the amount of ash that was supposed to go in the atmosphere with Yellowstone going up would make the temperature drop, vegetation would die because of lack of sunlight, blah, blah, blah. We can get into it, but
we would survive that part. That part wouldn't be a big deal. The big deal would be the initial...
we have a plan.
We got a plan,
We have
Arthur.
food. We have food stored for years. And if you don't have enough, you kill your neighbors for their food.
That's what I'm planning on. I'm like, I don't need to have food storage. I just need to go and take it.
Lord of the townhomes.
Yeah. Yeah. Got that parking violation still? Where's your fucking beans? Like, you should have thought about that when you posted that smart-ass comment on the Facebook page, you fuck. Who did you think I was going to rob first? When Yellowstone blew, huh? How can you prove that the boxes being left in the dumpster are for people who live there? Oh, I don't know, because their fucking names and addresses are on the boxes because they're that lazy. And you were there. You were the big box that took up half the dumpster. And now your can of beans are mine.
I feel like we're living an actual conversation Schweissen tends to have.
I'm sure we are.
Looking forward to it. I just hope I don't die before I can do that.
It's very specific that we have no context for.
Just Schweiss, since this is Utah is a very pro-gun state, I think the time of conversations past. You just blitzkrieg them.
Yeah.
So they're very not prepared for it.
Storm his house, take his beans.
Because if you have that conversation, let's say get prepared, and I'm pretty sure your handgun against whatever guns they could have would be very not ready for what they have.
Possibly,
so you have to blitzkrieg it.
That's true, yeah. And that's the thing is, like, whenever you watch a movie or a show, like, the speech is what gets the bad guy killed.
Exactly. No time. It's not a time for speeches. It's time for beans now.
Yeah, that's right. You just kill him and take the beans.
Just have the conversation in your head, just like you had with us, and just gain satisfaction from it. But you don't have that conversation with them when it's time for when it's beans time.
Yeah, or their wife is going to shotgun me from the side.
Yeah.
At mid, like, 20-second, like, or 30-second rant of their fucking cardboard box taking up the dumpster room, and, like, why the fuck would you leave a couch out there thinking that the guys that pick up the garbage are just going to toss it in? Like,
no, you take the couch to the dump.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
You take it yourself.
I had some people do that at my place, but they had, like, they put like 2 king-size mattresses just like out by the garbage cans, and they're just
That's
like
not
leaving
how
them
it
there.
works.
Yeah, at
Not how
least
any of this works.
I had the decency to smash my couch to pieces.
Remember when we
smashed?
smashed my old bed to pieces, like the bed frame?
Yeah,
Because that's what you got to do in order if you want them to take it.
Yeah, you got to break it down and put it in there, man.
Yeah.
God, that was fun. I love breaking furniture.
smash some stuff now.
Yeah, got the plan to smash the couch, Dutch. I don't think your plan's very good. All right, so anyway, we're going to be reviewing Red Dead 2 this week, and before we dive into any of that, though, what have you guys been playing? Starting with you, Greg.
Oh, I played some Resident Evil 7, a little bit of Resident Evil 2, and then I played some Punch Club, and some Warframe, and I think that's it.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
Punch Club, what is that?
It's a little indie game where you like manage a boxer dude, and so you like have him train and do stuff, and then like go to his job and get money so he can keep living, shit like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the game dev tycoon game that Joe and I played, except for you just manage a boxer dude.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You have to watch out for the chairs, like in $1 Million Baby.
No, you just he goes and fights like a bunch of random people, and then he like becomes some fucking vigilante and takes out like TMNT ripoffs that are just like alligator ninjas.
Oh wow.
Shit like that.
Koopa King ninjas.
Yeah, it's really random, but it's really fun.
All right, cool. What about you, Cameron?
I played a lot of Red Dead.
A lot of Red Dead.
I played a lot of Red Dead, and I did play some Shovel Knight as well.
Nice. Yeah,
How
we
was
got
that Shovel Knight so far?
You know, it's fun. It's a fun and a laid back sort of way. It's a little. It's difficult to judge how difficult the game's going to get right now because I'm still at the very beginning. But yeah, just getting used to its mechanics and kind of what it does. But enjoy it so far.
Nice. Yeah, we have to review that in the coming weeks, so we're gonna have to see how far we can get in the Shovel Knight. Have you got it yet, Craig? You said you're gonna get it for Switch, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it for Switch.
Okay, the guy who I lent my Switch to, my Switch, he bought it, and I think I can play it, but I'm gonna have him test it out, see. So I'll probably play it on the Switch too. I mean, I've rarely.
We don't use the Switches as often as we should, and this game seems to feel at home on the Switch. So.
Yeah, kind of like Setsuna.
Yeah, I am Setsuna. I really enjoyed playing that on the Switch.
Yeah,
and getting that actual physical copy of it. Whoever ended up taking that,
I don't remember, but it's
enjoyed
a beautiful copy. It looks really
enjoyed
nice.
That. But yeah.
Let's see. First thing I played this week, I've kind of been dark lately, and you guys have probably noticed that on PlayStation. I haven't really been logging in. Part of that's because I've been working in the mornings at 10 instead of like 6:30 at night.
You mean you're working a more normal schedule?
Yeah, but not anymore. It was just the last 2 weeks.
So you're saying when you were working a more normal schedule and could join us at a more normal time online, you haven't been?
Yes.
Yeah, that's when he chose to get on at like 1 o'clock in the morning and be like, "Where the fuck are you guys?"
Yeah, well,
After
no.
we'd been gaming all day, and we're like, you know what, it's probably bedtime
The
now.
problem with getting on is I find some of you stay up very late, and I stay up very late too. Like I was staying up till like 2, 3 in the morning, and I had to be at work by 10, so I was getting super fucked.
I usually head to bed around 10:30, 11, so I got to be at work at 7.
Yeah. I guess I should have hung out with Cameron then.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm fucking saying.
But I didn't. And I played a ton of Dissidia Final Fantasy on my buddy's PSP this week because of that. I was like trying to stay off the PlayStation, stay off the staying up super late. And Joe and I, for Ultima Final Fantasy, we decided we're going to play Dissidia, then we're going to play Dudekheim, even though they're supposed to be kind of the same story, or at least Dissidia's story is different. And the gameplay is different, yeah. And then we're going to play Dissidia NT, which the gameplay is also different and fucking abhorrent in that game.
Did you play NT?
Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fucking bad, dude.
I hate it. Hate it.
You should play it with us.
I probably will.
That's the only time we're gonna get a chance to play this fucking game that's terrible.
I mean, I fucking bought the damn thing. I need to play it.
Oh, I bought the Hyper Edition. You
So
see
I
my
fucking dread it.
my $200 Warrior of Light on the top right there. He's pretty cool, but he's not $200 cool.
Yeah.
It's fine if the game is like a 60 out of 100. Like when I bought the $80 or $100 Type 0, I don't feel bad about that. I think Type 0 is a meh game, but it was only $80. That one was $200 for the special edition, and it's a terrible game. And it was kind of a shitty special edition.
Yeah.
The next one that I'm going to buy is going to be the next 14 expansions special edition.
One's the Dark Knight one, right?
It's like Shadowbringer or something.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember the name of it. It's something dark, but yeah.
It's about the Dark Knights. That's all I saw about it.
Yeah. Fucking A, man. I played that, though. I played a bunch of Dissidia, like 7 or 8 hours. I played a ton of Wii Bowling, actually, because I came home early from work, and Alex was just like, she didn't really want to watch a movie or anything, and I'm like, well, do you want to do some Wii Bowling? And so her, Jason, and I all played Wii Bowling, like, multiple times.
Get pro status?
Oh, I was already pro. I kept it. I started to drop, and then I kind of kept it. I'm like around 1,100, maybe, so it's not super high, but and I'm also almost pro in the golf, and I think I'm pro in every other game in there. So, in golf, I remember being the long grind one.
Yeah, because baseball's fucking easy.
Yeah. I played some Madden 19 as well. Finished my season up, one way or the other, and
fucking lost it, didn't you?
I did, but I wasn't trying to.
Doesn't count as beating the game, just so you know.
How far in the season did you get? Did you make it to the finals?
I made it to the.
What difficulty were you on?
I was on the easiest, and they still beat me. And it's funny because the team that beat me went to the Super Bowl this year, and they lost to the Patriots. But I beat the shit out of them in the regular season. Like, I destroyed this team. It was like 30-0, and they fucking beat me by like 10 points in the championship game. It wasn't the Super Bowl, but it was I think it was the divisional championships,
Right?
And I couldn't fucking stop it. Like, it was an unstoppable force, and I was getting so fucking mad at it. And I was like, should I quit out of this thing? And then I want to make it as pure as possible, you know? Like, if I'm doing bad, I want to have a loss on my record, you know? And I was just like, I don't think I could win even if I started it again. Like, they're just fuck faces suddenly. They're just impossible to defeat.
I'm just saying, you have to win the season to beat the game.
I count it as beaten, man.
No.
I think it's a... I
feel like you gotta at least get into the finals.
I was in the playoffs. That's
the finals, though.
The finals is an NBA term, Craig.
I don't fucking care.
I still have
sports
to.
are all
I
the
still
same to me.
say the object of the game for everyone who plays it is to get to the Super Bowl. So okay. Let's say
whether
this.
you win or
Let's say
lose,
this.
like
Let's say this.
That's the end.
Twice. The Super Bowl counts as beating.
But we had already established that completing a season as a team was beating a sports game.
No.
We said that in the past.
No. It has to be Super Bowl now. Whether you win or lose the Super Bowl.
Well,
we beat
you
the
can't
game.
retroactively.
How many games is it to the Super Bowl?
I think it's 18 or 19. And so I did 17 games. I was 16-1, I think.
Super Bowl.
I mean, we can count that going forward, but I mean, before our rule was
No.
it was you just had to finish a season.
Our plan and our rule has always been play till credits. Did you get credits?
Well, there are no credits.
Exactly. And so now the objective is to get to the Super Bowl.
I don't know, man.
I don't like the play till credits thing. It's a fucking joke cop out.
I know it's a joke cop out, but Red Dead's a good example. You don't get credits until after the prologue, so
yeah.
which makes
but
it a
then
part
you
of the
also
game.
have the fucking Burnout Revenge, where you only get fucking credits if you have a gold medal in all 100 and something races.
Well, yeah,
Well,
but
there
we
you
can
go.
which
we
is
can
fucking horse shit.
we can acknowledge that there's an issue with that and adjust.
But I'm just saying the objective
That's why
of the
there's,
game
like,
is to play
there's
the
an
Super Bowl.
end to
If you don't
every
play in the
game.
Super Bowl, you've lost. You haven't beaten the game.
What do you think, Craig?
Because with your logic, I can just go to my very first few games, lose them all, and then count the games beaten.
Well, no, because you have to play a regular season, which is 16 games.
And lose every single one of them and not try and then count the games beaten.
Well, yeah, but you'd still have
because like in NBA Playgrounds 2, you can just lose like half the games and then you're out early.
I'm saying Super Bowl or nothing. You don't even have to win the Super Bowl. I'm giving you that.
Well, what's the point if you don't have to win it then?
You just got to get to the end.
Because by
end.
that time, Schweiss, you've invested so much in the game. You're going to try your best to win it.
I think it's a situation
and technically, like, Ocarina of Time, like, at the end, like, if you lose to Ganon, it's technically an ending.
I would say that technically me losing in the playoffs is an ending, too. You got multiple endings to
before
the
you
NFL game.
Before you
multiple
count,
endings.
Before you count this game as beaten, we should. And if we can't decide amongst ourselves, and we ask the listeners.
Well, I don't know what is Craig like. Do you want it to be unanimous? Because Cameron's not going to change his mind. He just doesn't want me to count a game.
I don't want him to. I just don't feel that it's beaten. The whole objective is to get to the Super
put
Bowl.
like 20 hours into that thing.
Doesn't matter.
When I said finals, Super Bowl is basically the same thing because it's the last game, and you didn't even make it to the last game.
Right, but that would just be an alternate ending. That would be like counting Bloodborne not beaten if you take the kill me ending, even though it is an ending. It's not the canon ending, but the canon ending for
credits,
the canon ending for the 2017 season or 2018 season for the Packers was not great.
And
they didn't go to the
technically,
playoffs. I don't think
Joe took the kill me ending.
I didn't try to fucking take the kill me ending though.
And he counted as beaten.
I tried to beat him, but Andrew Goff was sick for some fucking reason. Maybe we should put it up to the listeners.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's put it up to a listener vote because we need to set a precedent for sports games. Like
the precedent was already already was you had to complete a season. I don't think you guys had much input in that. No. I said that's what it should be, and I think Joe agreed. This is years ago, but we
need to set because you, like I said.
Well, I mean, different sports games.
Who's gonna intentionally lose 17 straight games?
Joe
just
would.
To count it as
Joe fucking would, and you know.
I don't fucking know if he would. I don't think he cares about the list enough.
Yeah, he.
If it was nominated as a game we had to play, he would lose every fucking game. Yeah, so he wouldn't have to play.
He wouldn't try,
and he'd like, "Oh man, your game's so hard. I couldn't win a single game."
He probably tried the first game, and if he got fucked, he'd just lose the rest of them. Just be like, "It's a shitty game."
Yep. Well, so you're using what you think a past host would do.
No. I'm sure we could call Joe right now and discuss this with him, and he will admit. And he will admit to that.
Well, see, because there's the different sports games have different ways for you to beat and do a season for things. Like that first NBA Playgrounds had like different.
It'd be the same. I'm pretty sure the NBA
the
2K and then the FIFA games. I'm pretty sure they'd be all basically the same structure.
NBA 2K16 actually has a story mode, though.
There are like 82 games in a basketball season as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should count someone as not beating the game if they play fucking 82 games and they don't go to the fucking finals.
No. I
think it's ridiculous. No. What if you want a challenge and you just happen to lose in the semifinals?
It's the finals or nothing.
Okay.
It's the Super Bowl or nothing.
Like you played 97
I guess it would
games.
have to go.
It's nerf or nothing.
And you fucking lost in triple overtime on the 7th game.
Should we just go by like different sports then?
Oh my god.
Let's open this discussion to our listeners.
All right. What are the options on the board?
NBA 2K16 has an actual story mode, and I don't know about the other ones.
The NFL one doesn't, as far as I know. I mean, you can create a character and a coach, and you can be that coach. But like you shouldn't be like, well, you have to wait till they die in the game, like, and that's when the game's over because that's thousands.
Okay, well,
of
here's
hours.
the thing: if we go with the fact that you only have to play the game and then just lose to have the game beat, then I technically already beat NBA Playgrounds 2 because it doesn't have the same setup the first game does.
Yeah, the first game has very like clear. You beat all of the stuff; it's over.
Yeah.
So what are the options we have? One is you play a full season, and then the season is over. The next thing you play has to be the second season's preseason, which is what I think should count. Cameron wants you get to the finals.
That's the whole objective.
But
that's the
Cameron
whole reason
also
you play the game.
Cameron's initial thing was you
No, that's
win
before
the
I sat
finals.
down and thought about it.
But I mean, what's the point of getting to the Super Bowl if you lose the Super Bowl?
Schweiss,
It's
are
all
you
about-
arguing this because you're like afraid you'll never be able to get to the Super Bowl?
No, I'm sure I will, but I just think it's not fucking fair that I can't count it as beaten when I fucking genuinely lost. I couldn't have won. It was just I
Could you have
can't.
won?
I mean, you could have
No.
reset the
You could've-
game, and
I'm sure there is a alternate universe where I did win that game, but if that was, and they won the Super Bowl, they went on to destroy everybody else too. But like, and it's so fucking god, that game's difficulty is garbage.
how
man.
long is it to get to the Super Bowl? Do you think?
How many
long-
hours?
How long is each game?
It
Generally?
says it's a 1 hour experience. I'd say it's probably more like 45 minutes. So
Per
17. So, yeah. So like I did 18 45-minute periods. So I mean,
So you put like 15 hours into the game, about.
probably something like that.
No, we can't base it off of hours.
We're never going to come to an agreement amongst ourselves. So I think the poll on Twitter.
I mean, that's a pretty long time to not get to the Super Bowl and then just get fucked for it.
yeah,
So,
well, and I
mean,
was trying, dude. I was fucking trying my ass
So
off.
that-
Do you have
that'd
to
be-
play every one of the games?
That'd be
Like, how-
13 and a half hours.
If you lost
He
all
only-
the games in the
he only
beginning,
put
where
13
would it
hours
cut you
into
out?
it.
I would not have gone to the playoffs, and I would have been
How
done.
many games would you have
I
played?
think it's 16. It's 16
So you have
games.
to play 16 games no matter what?
Yeah, no matter how bad you are, no matter how much you don't give a shit.
You just have to bloodborne the shit out of it. I don't care.
I don't know. I think I'm with Schweiss on this one now. Here's the thing, Came. If you
Yeah,
If
there's
you
17
have to-
weeks, and you get a bye week every year. So
if you
16.
have to play 16 games and you put an actual effort into that,
I'm going to go
it's
beat
fine.
Madden in a couple weeks, guys. I'll be back.
what the? Yeah, in a couple weeks, and then you'll be like, oh, so easy. It only took me 2 weeks. I've been playing this fucking thing.
I'll play a game a day. I'll play a game a day until I've beaten it.
You should try it and
In
see
air
if you can
quotes.
win the Super Bowl, and I couldn't. You should do that.
No, I don't even have to try anymore.
Play it
'Cause now
on
the
normal.
precedent is set. I can lose all my 18 games. If I put some effort in, then I can count it.
Well,
well,
it's.
I mean, if you're trying to play the game and you like play all 16 games and you get absolutely fucked,
It's just how it goes. People can play one of these Dark Souls games over and over again and be absolutely fucked and never beat the game. They've put hours into it. They just can't get good enough.
yeah.
I mean,
Time to
it's
get good.
All right. Well, I say we should leave it up to the listeners. With it being an odd number of hosts, it's easier to say, oh,
But
majority
see, if we're going by
wins.
that, he already agrees with you. You already have your way, Schweiss.
But I'm fine with letting the listeners decide.
okay.
Because I'm going to play the game again, and I would like to win the Super Bowl. It would be... I expected to blow everyone away and play a couple more seasons on the easiest and then bump it up. Because when I bump it up to the next hardest difficulty, it is very hard. People are doing like all these juke moves and these fancy dancing fuck face moves, and I can't bring anyone down. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like it goes from like a cakewalk to the fucking Trail of Tears in one difficulty, and there are 2 more difficulties above that. I'm like, who the fuck can play on this?
They're just fucking
What are-
backflipping over
okay,
your
if
head.
this-
Yes, dude, it's insane.
if normal is the Trail of Tears, what are the next 2 levels, Schweiss?
The Armenian genocide and
Auschwitz.
the fucking and Auschwitz is the final difficulty. I'm pretty sure that's what it is in the game. It's just Auschwitz. and like
It's
and the fucking
fucking camp ball
Yeah.
with this like Nazi snipers like trained on all this
yeah,
players.
all of the guys are dressed up as fucking as officers, and they have 99 maxed out stats, and you're just these fucking.
So like the other teams is always just like the German officers, and your guys are just like the poor Jews.
Yeah, with the Star of David patched on their fucking uniform.
The officers have all their weapons and everything.
Yeah, so it's impossible. So that's what the last difficulty is, as far as I can tell.
You should just make it the max difficulty and just try it out, just to see what it's like.
That's intense.
It was the fucking St. Louis Rams, man. Those fucks. They're not even in St. Louis anymore. They're the L.A. Rams. Fucking 2 L.A. teams. God damn it.
That's how it works, dude. That's why we have the Jazz.
Because they were from...
What about Utah gives you the name Jazz? Nothing. They're from New Orleans.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we'll. What are the options, though, for the poll? We're going to have regular season,
Super
and
Bowl
then
or die, and then just do the season.
Super Bowl or die, get to the bowl, do the season. I think those are the only 3 we can really have. Because, like, divisional and stuff like that, that's kind of nitpicky.
Completing the season.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one?
Get to the bowl.
Get to the Super Bowl, and then winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, winning
those are the 3 things. So
or we could do winning the Super Bowl and getting the MVP of the year.
Well, I mean, Cam
award.
at least conceded.
Cam
at least conceded that you just have to get to the Super Bowl. So I mean, we could just have Super Bowl or die, and then
getting to the Super Bowl is
do the season.
Getting to the Super Bowl by itself is awesome.
Yeah, but your whole point to that was it was an alternate ending of me not winning the Super Bowl, but I also didn't win the Super Bowl by not getting to it.
But you could
say that's an alternate ending
because no, you have to get the Super Bowl.
Not quite the same choice.
Not quite the same.
Yeah, I guess I didn't get to the end and then win or lose.
You know they have 2 trophies and 2 sets of team rings for both teams already made for the Super Bowl, and so they just have to throw away the losing team stuff.
Yeah, I think they send them to like third world countries, is what I've heard.
Really?
Yeah, so they're like a bunch of kids in Africa with like fucking St. Louis Rams shirts because they lost, or L.A. Rams. And not in my world, though. In my world, they fucking won. They annihilated everybody. They killed us all. Fucking untouchable bastards. I was probably the only person to beat them, and then they still beat me in the end.
Did their stats change at all?
I don't know. I don't think so. They were just like, I don't know, they were fucking playing like they're supposed to play.
Rookie players to like legends in one game.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it up to you guys, though. You can argue it up. And
I wouldn't put up the poll today. I would wait until this episode releases and then put out the poll.
All right, I'll tentatively not. I'll not count that as beaten then until we get the ruling.
Okay.
Has anybody beaten the real? Well, I mean, now that we've argued over whether or not I've beaten a game, has anyone actually beaten a game this week?
Yeah, I beat Resident Evil 7 and Punch Club.
All right, Resident Evil 7 and Punch Club. Very nice week, Craig. Too. It's a nice change for you.
Well, I mean, depending on the vote, I'll have a tentative third.
All right, Cameron.
Yes, I beat a game.
All right, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep.
I assume. All right, Red Dead Redemption 2 puts Cameron on the board. I did not beat a game as of right now. It's in the review booth. But the
referees are reviewing the tape real fast.
I love how you put Cam's line like right next to your own instead of spacing it like you did between mine and yours.
That's a good point.
Cam shit doesn't matter.
The Nude Clan hog for the hosts is as follows. I am King Hog with 7 games beaten this year. Caleb Craig, very close with 6 games. Cameron making up the difference between the two of us, sitting at 1 game beaten for the 2019
he's at
Nude
least
Clan
on the
season.
board now. Congrats, Cam.
Yeah. You keeping up on your Hog-ib?
No.
Cameron, come on, man.
Have you, Craig?
Mm-hmm. I think I'm back up
now.
to 6th place.
Yeah. I'll pull it up right now. Just a quick review. Craig is in 5th place.
Oh, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, I am in 21st place. Craig has over
Top
double
10.
over double my points. It's all those audiobooks. You're tearing it up with that.
Fucking like 17 of them.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
So guys, get your hog in, hogib.herokuapp.com. Keep track, join the fun, join the competition. Even if you don't win the Super Hog or the Nude Hog, you can always compete in the other categories. We've got a music tab, a movie tab, DLCs, books, Audible books, comics, listening to our shows. It's all there. You can, if you're a loser in all the other categories, but you win in one of them, I'd say it's worth it. Anyways, let's get into Red Dead Redemption 2.
Just click on one of the trailers.
I want the OG trailer. That was the best trailer, in my opinion.
Rockstar logo. Sunset. Or sunrise. A forest. So far, this trailer was not.
Listen to me. When the time comes, you gotta run and don't look back. This is over.
All right, maybe that wasn't the best trailer, but Red Dead...
Said it was the best one.
The first one I saw was the best one. And I also pulled up the Brokeback Mountain trailer as well, and I decided against playing that one. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is an open-world, sandbox-style game developed and published by Rockstar Games. It was released October 26, 2018 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles. This is the third entry in the Red Dead series, and of course, as we all know, a prequel to Red Dead Redemption. The game was developed by all of the Rockstar studios, actually. They kind of combined it over the Rockstar North, Rockstar Canada, Toronto, all of those studios. They just had everybody work on Red Dead Redemption 2, so it was their big deal. It was just a huge collaborative effort. They used the Rage engine, which is the Rockstar advanced game engine that we're all pretty familiar with if we play GTA or even the first Red Dead Redemption. It's a great engine. It seems very pretty good. Like, as far as open world games, I think Red Dead is pretty up there as far as like how quality the game is and how like well the open world works. And I think a lot of that's the great engine that they've developed. They still have a online beta. It was in a closed beta for a while. It's now open. I know.
Shame on
they should have had it out
for not having it ready to go by now.
Yeah, I think we're living in a world now where
it's just fine to put an unfinished product on the market and promise to make changes to it down the road.
Well, the beta wasn't even out when it came out.
I know.
You had to wait like a month before the beta was even out.
And then that's fine. I mean, they sold us a first-person experience. A story experience, just a single-player experience, and that's what we bought, and that's what we played, and that's what we enjoyed. But other games have more of a sin in that category.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out with its online, and like
all ready to go.
Shitload of people play that game.
I'm pretty sure it crashed.
Makes them a lot of fucking money.
I think 4 and 5 the servers died.
I think
but they was ready. Yeah.
I think the point of view now for these big studios and publishers is the main chunk of the game goes out to pay for features of the game down the road.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a hit or miss thing for me because in one way I
Fuck you.
Fuck you too.
In one way I appreciate it. In situations like this where they're like, here's the beta, tell us what you think. And then people are like, oh, the money is too fucking hard to get a hold of. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this, oh, that. And then now they can adjust it to make it more balanced to get that feedback. But I think situations where this kind of doesn't work is with Final Fantasy 15, where it comes out and it's half-cooked, and then they try to bake it the rest of the way.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of single-player games being sold as games as a service. It's a really shitty idea, and it needs to stop. And a lot of games are doing that.
And the multiplayer add-on, like people bitching about Red Dead 2's online, I'm like, who fucking cares? I felt very satisfied with just buying and playing the single player.
I mean, that's what I got it for. I mean, the online was a little happy tack on to play some fucking poker every now and then and throw some tomahawks.
And if it's kind of fucked up still, then whatever. I didn't buy it for the online necessarily. Yeah. And I think that's where people sort of fall into this generalization of, oh, well, they should have had it done before it came out. It's like, well, they did. This is just the extra shit. You know, like I put 90 fucking hours into this game, and about an hour of that was online, just to get the first trophy for completing the online like introduction thing.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, big development deal for Rockstar. They put all their eggs in this basket, and boy, did it pay off. So it was very anticipated, a huge marketing thing. It was the second biggest launch in the history of entertainment and the biggest opening weekend for any piece of entertainment. It generated $725 million in sales from the opening weekend, and it shipped over 23 million copies to retail stores. The Grand Theft Auto 5, I think, was like 800 or 900 million, but it was in the middle of the week because most games release on like Tuesday. And for whoever gave me shit for saying that is true. It's just becoming more of a thing to release them on weekends, but most of the time it's like Tuesday. This
Tuesday
weird,
is a release day, yeah.
And it is becoming more and more of a thing to do it on weekends, but like most games were the Tuesday deal.
Mm-hmm.
This one they decided to not do that. It got a lot of great awards. It's critically acclaimed by the critics, but no one else's opinion matters but ours, right?
Well,
depending.
Mine.
Nah, not correct. Mine.
No.
Yours is just a supplemental opinion. If I were half as smart and twice as large.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That was fucking rude. So the setting, 1899.
Wrong.
I believe it's like the United States, but not really. And we kind of take up the story. We see the story of the Dutch Vanderlyn gang, the gang that you pick apart and finish off in the original Red Dead Redemption. You kind of see their story and their plight as the Wild West becomes tamed, which is an interesting theory and an interesting idea. And this is kind of something that the show Deadwood explores a lot, where it's like, yeah, you know, it is sort of coming to an end, but
our way of life, it's coming to an end.
But, I mean, they're like criminals, so it's like, yeah, I mean, no shit.
No, it's just the open country, being able to just disappear.
Just to be in a sandbox.
Over.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, you're like a 5-minute ride away, but really you're states away. That was always weird. We're moving camp. And it's like a 3-minute ride to the next camp.
Well,
I'm like, great, this is safe.
Explain that in the game, but it's just being able to disappear in another state and just be basically gone.
Yeah, no one knows you, and you're just free. Yeah, that's dead now.
But that's going away with communication on the railroad.
Yeah, so we're kind of seeing the last dregs of the Vanderlyn gang. They're sort of in their prime right as this game starts, and they're beginning their trials and tribulations.
No, they were in their prime, but
and now
it's their decline that this game.
I kind of they could almost do another prequel. They could do a prequel to the prequel.
I know
they could do
really
the beginning
dumb.
of Arthur Morgan.
Yeah,
or they could do the beginning of Javier.
Yeah. Escuela's Redemption.
Escuela's Redemption?
No, they're maybe, because Escuela was actually on the run from killing someone in Mexico, but I think that started him on his path of being a gang member, not his redemption.
Yeah, I don't think he really redeems himself necessarily.
No, there's no redemption.
Charles, though. Charles could have a redemption.
Yeah.
Although he's not really a bad guy.
Charles doesn't need a redemption story.
He's still in a gang, though.
Well, as it suits him at that moment. But Charles' story would be interesting to follow.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. So the game takes place, I think it's like 10 or 11 years before Red Dead Redemption.
It's 12, I think.
Oh. The thing that really throws me off with this...
Red Dead Damnation.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the next game. 10 more years and we'll get it.
It's a prequel where he plays Dutch.
Yeah, and you just try to make plans. That's all you do is you just like have a cork board with plans.
It sounds like a game where you sit on the sideline and coach.
Yeah, it's the Dutch.
It's a gang simulator.
Oh my God, head coach.
Red Dead Madden.
Yeah, Red Dead head coach. It's Dutch on the sidelines calling all the shots, upgrading his people, finding new gang members to do his bidding. Shit, that'd be an award.
Actually, he
winner.
doesn't upgrade anything. He finds somebody else to be his right-hand man, and then that right-hand man will upgrade everything for
Yeah,
you.
they do all of it.
No. It'd be Red Dead Beginnings. That's what it'd be.
Or Red Dead Origins.
No, you can't. The Origins word has been tainted.
Yeah, not every game needs to be called Origins.
They kind of do, though.
No, they don't.
There's so many. There's so many. It seems like they must. Yeah, so it takes place before the first game. The weird thing for me is, like, in Red Dead Redemption...
What about Gun, though?
Jack is a kid. And in this, he's a little kid. But I'm like, I didn't think Jack was, like, 13 or... No, this is bullshit here. Because Jack in the fucking Red Dead Redemption, he's like 12, right? I always figured he was like 12.
12, 13, 14, probably.
Yeah, and in this, he's like 5. I'm like, how the fuck is he 17 in the second game or in the first game? Like, the timeline's a little fucky with that.
Think so.
I know.
I think they put a lot of thought into
There's a
that.
lot of time jumps in the game, and then there's like another
So
time
by
jump
the
at
prologue,
the end
Jack-
of the
Jack
first
is probably-
game. So he's like 20 at the end of Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But the time frame with
It's like 15 years.
No, I
dude.
think by the end of the game, Jack is around. I probably would say around 9.
He's like
10.
I think they mention him being like 14 in the epilogue.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And the epilogue is like a year or two before this the first game.
So he's
begins.
16 in the first game?
Yeah.
I don't find that believable. He seems like a little kid from what I remember.
He
unless I'm
acts like a
remembering.
very timid person throughout the game.
I don't know. That was the one thing that kind of like irked me, but maybe I'm just remembering incorrectly.
Yeah, go get a refresher on Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, so it takes place before the first game. We get to see the slow fall and then the extremely fast fall of the Dutch Vanderlyn gang. It starts off with you and the boys fleeing across the mountainous Rockies, I believe it is. Or, no, it's probably the Appalachian Mountains.
No, the Appalachians are... No, it's not the Appalachians. It's definitely the Rockies.
Oh, the weird part is like we're
doesn't
in
go that far, though.
Louisiana and then also in like fucking Utah, and it's weird. But
the fake state that
Maybe-
it's supposed to be in is like in between Utah, Colorado, and like somewhere else.
It could be definitely
in
Colorado.
Wyoming.
Those are definitely Wasatch Mountain Range mountains. With
Yeah.
how tall those are and how snowy it is.
So they're
'Cause the
fleeing-
Appalachians
But
don't
it
do
also
that.
touches
Yeah.
Mexico.
yeah, it's
So-
weird. It's weird, and I feel like the boggy.
I think it was like the Colorado, Arizona-ish area is where it was supposed to be kind of a fake state.
I guess we could look it up.
And
be
I feel like
accurate on it, but you know.
well, it's not really an accurate build though. It's a weird like
No, it's
hyper.
not. It's not. Yeah, exactly. But we can get where they're taking the influence from, just like Saint Denis is New Orleans.
Yeah. So we get some of the return towns, and we get Saint Denis, which is obviously New Orleans, and then we get the kind of boggy area, which I assumed was Louisiana. But it's like almost the whole country is in this game, and it's a mind fuck to think about because the map isn't that big. Like it's pretty big for an in-game map, but like you're going across the entire United States almost in it, and it feels way small.
Yeah.
But they're on the run. They had a bad dealing in the town of.
They stole $100,000 in bonds from the bank in Blackwater.
Yeah.
And the job went wrong somehow. It never fucking explains that. And then
It hints
so
at what happens though. Dutch freaked out and shot somebody and killed somebody because he's losing his mind.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Dutch, apparently, though, and like everybody
Mike has a part in that,
everybody
too.
keeps fucking asking what happens, basically through that whole game. Anyway, but yeah, so they stole a bunch of money and they had to flee because shit went wrong. So they had to hide the money real quick and then go because they had the sheriff's people on them and also the Pinkertons and a bunch of other people, I guess.
Yeah, interesting thing about the Pinkerton Detective Agency. There's actually a real company out there called the Pinkerton Private Detection Agency, and they're trying to sue Rockstar for taking their thing, and it's not really been resolved yet. But I thought that was kind of a fun little thing when I was looking up stuff.
Is the term Pinkerton like an actual term from that day and age?
Yeah, it is.
Then you
yeah.
can't assume over that.
That's what Rockstar is saying. They're like,
Yeah.
it was a thing back then, so like you can't do that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's still unresolved.
And this is, they got the name Pinkerton from the same place that Rockstar was pulling it from.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. It's bullshit to be like, we got to the source first. But yeah, they're fleeing across the country from the law, basically, and they're kind of coming out west. And as they're doing so, all of the gang members are starting to kind of acknowledge that this way of life is coming to an end. Civilization keeps burning. Well, some of them. Your guy is. He refuses
The only
to believe
one
it.
who
And Jose.
accepts it and knows that it's coming is Arthur.
And Jose.
And he's the only one who ever talks about it. And it's fucking stupid.
Well, their way of life is coming to an end. That was kind of the whole plot of the first game. And this one, Arthur's starting to realize that. So you go across these areas, and each new area you get in, you kind of find a bunch of people, and you sort of get your criminal mind on, and you try to rip off or, fuck over every area you're in. And that's
Well,
kind
I
of
mean, the
overall.
very beginning, you're at like your first camp, which is in like the mountains, or no, what were they doing in the mountains? They were going to.
So
Some of their people were
picking up-
taken or something
So-
by the O'Driscolls.
So
I
you were
think
on the,
is what
you were
happened.
you were on the run still from Blackwater, and then you were trying to make your escape into this cabinous mountainous area, which is probably Colorado.
Yeah.
And then on your way there, you find out the O'Driscolls are taking up shelter in the same area. You deal with them for a little bit, and then you go back to that little old mining town that was abandoned. And then from there, you discover John Marston still hasn't made his way back, and you have to go find him, and he's just holed up in a mountain somewhere.
Yeah, and the first thing you do is you rob that train. Remember, it's like owned by Cornwall, Leviticus Cornwall, one of
I
the
think that happens after this.
That happens
though.
after.
antagonists.
Because you
Because
learn
have
about that
you
train
have
from
John
the
back,
O'Driscolls.
and I'm pretty sure that you save Sadie Adler way before that.
No, so you learn about that train from the O'Driscolls, and so you want to go rob that train from the O'Driscolls before the O'Driscolls can get to it.
Yeah, it's in the very beginning, and then you get the bank fight or the bank heist from Valentine. You have a shootout with the Cornwall guys, and you move camp again to the Lemoyne area, which is New Orleans, basically.
The swampy area,
The swamp ass region, and that's where you come across the Lemoyne Raiders, these like backwoods hick guys.
It's people who still thought the Civil War was going on, and then they were still loyal to the true South.
Yeah, which is kind of a funny little like subplot that they have going on in the game. They think it's still going on. You kind of dink around there for a while. You try to come up, and you find this. This is where you start getting involved with the plantation, sort of as well. You've got the Greys and the
versus the Braithwaites.
The Braithwaites, yeah. So you destroy one of the. I think it's the Braithwaites.
You do tasks for both of them. You go steal horses from the Greys tasked by the Braithwaites to do so.
Yeah, it segues into that by you destroying the fucking moonshine thing in Lemoyne, though, and then you find out of its own.
So I think it's actually the Greys who tell you to steal the horses from the Braithwaites. The Braithwaites tell you to go burn the Lemoyne tobacco fields.
Yeah.
Not Lemoyne. The Greys tobacco fields.
Yeah, so you find these two families that are like warring families, or these feuding families, and these they're like the big influential members of each of this area, and you find out that there's like a lot of money between them. You hear
there's
from
like
a
a
rumor.
bunch of gold left over from the Civil War or something that they have like a stash of, and you're trying to get in their good graces so you can like rob them.
Yeah, and you're basically playing both sides against each other to distract them.
Yeah.
In order to rip them both off.
And they see through that right away, because who wouldn't?
Yeah, because Dutch is, he seems to be great at coercing people, but he's really fucking terrible at it, to be honest. Like, he's better than everyone else in the gang, but that's not really hard. He's just the king of the idiots, And they try to rip him off. It goes super south. They end up like.
And then Seamus, the Irish guy, gets shot in the middle of the road in downtown Rhodes because of it.
Yeah, he gets blasted.
Yeah, you have to go save him from Blackwater.
Yeah, so he's one of the people you save from Blackwater just to get him shot later.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of deaths in the game because there's a lot. Basically, everyone that's not in the first game has to get cleaned up and swept under the rug before this game finishes up.
I mean,
literally,
Charles
there's
didn't get
like
cleaned up.
5 people left over at the end of Chapter 6.
Yeah, it's a lot of fucking death.
And there's like, what, 15, 12, or 15, 14 people in the fucking gang? Like,
Yeah.
Near the middle of it. Yeah. They all just fucking go away.
Yep, and we've got some great stuff between the Braithwaites and the Greys. There's some cool things going on. They have like one of the sons and one of the daughters like has a little affair
Romeo and
going.
Juliet thing.
Yeah, on the side where it's like the forbidden love thing. And there's some great development when it comes to these characters in the game. And I think that's where one of the strong points of Red Dead Redemption 2 is. It's with the characters. Like they're all very believable.
And it puts you in also into like the political event of the time with women's rights and women's vote.
Yeah,
Like that.
there's a women's suffragettes going around.
You have to drive the cart as they start shouting about wanting to
It was
vote and
funny,
shit.
making that car go a little fast. Watch the women walking, hustle to keep up with it.
Yeah. They're like, oh.
Run. Run for your rights. Yeah, there's stuff like that goes down, and then the Braithwaites find out what you've been doing. I mean, they've known all along, and then they take Jack.
I don't think they knew all
Not all
along.
along,
I
but
think
they found out.
they found out basically instantly when you tried to sell them the moonshine that they were trying to buy in the first place from those dudes who were making it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
they found-
that was a really
that's-
stupid move.
That's when they found out that you were like fucking with them.
Yeah, that was a dumb fucking move because you take over the moonshine plant and you like fuck it up, and then you sell the moonshine to them, and they're like, curious. And it
They're
sucks
like,
because
they're the ones running it.
Hosea, which is the right hand man of Dutch Vanderlyn, the gang leader, he talks about cribbage in the game.
Yeah.
And he plays it with the Braithwaite woman. And I was like, oh my god, is there going to be a cribbage minigame? And there fucking wasn't, man. So disappointed in that. I was like, I wanted cribbage so bad. And he just gave us Texas Hold'em again. Like, come on. Give me some crib,
No
man.
one wants to play cribbage.
Some crib.
No one in this day and age wants to play Game of
No,
Points.
they just don't know they want to play it yet. When they play it, they'll want to play it. Trust me. It's a great game.
No, I don't trust you because I've played it a handful of times and I still just play it to amuse you when you want to play it.
You don't like cribbage?
No, not particularly.
God, dude, it's a great game. Even more strategy and more outcomes than in poker. Even more. You can make 15 in pairs and runs out of all sorts of cards, and it's just it's deep, man. It's deep. No fucking cribbage though.
Yeah,
No
you in
cribbage.
your old age will have your little bridge parties you play with at the old folks'
Yeah.
home.
You got the backgammon. Like, yeah, how many
Chinese
games do I gotta
checkers.
win to put it on the hog? None of my family's alive, so I'm just this fucking crazy dude talking about pigs and hog all the time.
Lists.
Yeah, you got that on the games beat the list this year? Beat the whole floor. Fucking bunch of old coots in here. There's no challenge. Got the game of points. Ain't nobody around here gonna get anywhere near my points. They're all senile. That's right. Anyway,
I
though,
wonder how old folks' homes are going to change in a few years because old folks' homes now they have it catered to the things that they the people like to do what they did in their day and age, the games they like.
Yeah.
But then when we get old and need to fill those homes, they're going to have like consoles and computers and all sorts of shit to keep us
strippers. Yeah, it's gonna be a
entertained. I think
great.
strippers were in style back then too, more so than now. So
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Those guys are probably in their like 50s and 60s, like almost old folks' home. So we might be seeing the old folks' home with the strippers in it sooner than we think.
I think that would have already been a thing if it was going to be a thing.
No alcohol though, because it's prohibition.
Yeah, well,
Those guys would have to be pretty old now. Though.
exactly.
Anyway, though, yeah, they kidnap Jack Marston, and this is where the game really picks up for me, story-wise, because they kidnap his son, and you basically come to the gates of the Braithwaite Manor, and you like demand that they return him, and then you just fucking start blasting.
You burn it to the ground.
And that reminded me, that was like a Django
Hellfire will
Unchained.
rain upon you.
Yeah, that was like a Django Unchained.
You know exactly
part
that's what it
where you
felt
just
like.
fucking kill every single person, and then like you light the house on fire, and the crazy old person goes back into the flames.
You fucking eliminate those two families from existence.
You eliminate the one
still
family.
alive.
You just make it
there's
the other.
the couple, but you fucking kill everybody else.
That's true. The Greys falls because the Greys came after you in force, and you kill all of them. But then you go after the Braithwaites in force.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once you've botched that area, you move on to the next area to botch in the game, which is the... Fuck, where did they go after that?
So after Rhodes,
It's
that's when you
the
get
one
to...
right next to Saint Denis. Which
Oh,
is
yeah.
Yeah, but you live in the Lemoyne Raider manor for that area.
Yeah, you take over the Lemoyne Raiders' home, which is really almost empty, and you kind of clear out that shit and kind of get it ready for the gang to come live in. There's some cool development stuff with Arthur here, where he's like, trying to clean up.
So when you're cleaning up the the manor from the remainder of the Lemoyne Raiders, I was going through with my shotgun because that's when I got it and was having a lot of fun with it. And so I get up to the top with the guy in the bedroom, and it felt like there was going to be like this little interaction between you and him. The guy who's in the bed, and so he's like, oh, you're all the same, blah, 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 and he slowly starts reaching for his gun, and then in my mind, I'm like, I'm just going to shoot his hand real fast to get him to, like, not go for the gun, and maybe he could continue this, but I had a fucking shotgun, so when I shoot him, I blow his fucking arm off, and he dies. Does he say anything more, or did you kill him?
He just shoots himself.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he commits suicide.
Oh, I killed him before he could.
I didn't know. I just wanted him to not go for the gun, and I ended up blowing his arm off.
Yeah, I had many moments like that where I was like collecting a bounty for this black guy, and his son was in the room, and he's like, oh, let me find the bounty, and he pulls a knife out of the cupboard, and he like swipes at me with it, and I back up, and I for some reason I just can't bring myself to press square and circle for the combat, so I just pressed R2, and I pulled out my sawed-off shotgun, and I just fucking obliterated the top of this guy's head, and just like his son is standing right next to us. I just fucking eviscerate the top half of this dude's dome piece, and then his son is like cowering under the bed, and I was like, I should kill him too, but then I didn't. I was like, that's evil. That's too much. I already blew his dad's head off in front of him. Like, way too many accidental massacres in this game.
That's something we're going to talk about in gameplay, about how easy it is to say hello or to shoot them.
Yeah,
it's either hello or you have no more head. There's no in between.
Yeah. So you go to this new area and you start the conflict between Leviticus Cornwall, the guy who owns the railroad. He's like a big tycoon, and he really hates you. The government really hates you. Everyone in this area really fucking hates you. Like, you're just despised, And once again, this game, it almost feels like Final Fantasy X sometimes, where, like, Yuna was always getting kidnapped. Jack is always getting kidnapped as well.
He gets kidnapped once.
No, he gets taken by the Bruno guy, too. Remember the Italian dude in Saint Denis?
The
Braithwaite
all part
chick
of the same quest.
he sells...
The Braithwaite chick kidnaps him and
then
sells
takes him to that guy.
Yeah, I guess
And then
it's...
he gives him to you, like, almost immediately.
I guess it is a little different.
And it never happens after that.
He's always getting traded around, though.
I mean, later, Abigail and then Jack in Red Dead Redemption get taken.
I mean... Yeah,
that's
a different game, so it's not within this.
Yeah, so the next big area is outside of the big city of Saint Denis, and this is where the visuals of the game get really awesome, because one of the reviews I saw was like talking about how in the OG game Blackwater was just kind of a small town, and there wasn't really that much to it, but Saint Denis in this game is huge. It's like a sprawling city. And it's
like an actual city.
Yeah.
It's like when you go back to Blackwater, even with the time advance in the prologues, like, it's not a big city. I mean, it's a decent sized one, but it's like a third the size of Saint Denis. And it's supposed to be like kind of the capital of that area.
Yeah. Saint Denis really shows us the advancements that are going on, and it sort of embodies the fears of the characters. When they go into the town, they're like, oh my god,
it symbolizes everything that they're running from.
Yeah, look how filthy this is. Like, we came out west, we came away from that area, Blackwater, to avoid this kind of shit, and it's here, and it just kind of hammers home the point that this is happening, and there's not really much they can do about it. But once they can't get Jack back, they find out that Jack was pawned off to this guy who runs.
Can't remember his name, but the Italian dude, who's the mafia crime boss in the city.
I thought his name was.
Bronto something.
Bronto, yeah, it's Bronto. Angelo Bronto.
Angelo Bronto. Yeah.
Bronte. I just remember B, a big B on the map for his mission. Sorry, I just remember by their like initial, like the B guy,
And D always has a plan,
Yeah, D's got that plan.
The big D's always got a plan.
Yeah, the big D's got that plan to get into that nice tight little V. That's all the big D wants to do. You just gotta trust me, Arthur. Get her the roses. Take her to the movie. We'll get the V.
I got a little tip for you, Arthur.
You gotta put the D in the V, Arthur. But yeah, you go to this town, you find out that Bronte is running the joint, and he seems to be all about you. He's like buddy with you, and he's like talking. He looks up to you greatly, and then he also talks shit on you at the same time. And he does this thing. He does this weird thing where it's almost like a Two-Face thing, where he's talking to you and he's like, "Oh man, I love the way you guys are doing it." And he's like, "So I mean, is it true you guys like fuck your cows and stuff out there on the plains? Because that's what we heard. You fucked your cows." And then he'd wait, and then he'd be like, "No, I'm just fucking with you," And everybody basically hates this guy immediately, and he is the mafia character.
You know what makes me laugh about that?
What's
is
that?
like Italians are fucking obsessed with cowboys.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the whole like
all of those spaghetti western movies,
all Italian directors,
Italian directors, Italian funded.
But that's like more modern era.
I know, but it's still like I think that's what it was like a hint to is why that guy loves you like immediately is because those guys are cowboys.
He never loved you immediately. He saw use out of you, and and then later he gives you a tip to have you go rob something that made it really hard for you to get out of the city.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like he shines up to you like immediately when he finds out like you're actual cowboys when everybody else around him is just like city people.
The only reason he shined up to you, he was playing you better than Dutch could ever play someone.
I know, but he's also
he
Italian.
saw use out of you. No, it doesn't matter. He was
Italian.
playing you. He didn't like you. He saw something. He had a plan that actually fucking worked.
I have a plan.
I mean, it didn't really
because of
yeah.
you, not because of Dutch Vanderlyn. Because Arthur is a fucking god when it comes to gunplay and can shoot 1 million people in the head at once.
Well, I know.
That's the only reason you get out of any information. It's I have a plan, Arthur, and that's where you kill everyone.
Yeah.
And that's gotten us out of every pinch so far, and I don't see why we have to do it different.
do that thing where you slow down time.
Do that thing where you shoot 100 bullets at once, and it's a headshot every time. And that's why they keep you around. And then when you give John Marston your satchel, he gets that power too.
Yeah. That's a great point. It's, I don't know. I kind of see where Craig's coming from, but I don't know if that's really.
I have a plan, Arthur, and that's where you kill everyone.
Yeah. But you find out Bronte is playing you because he gives you a tip, and you have some back and forth, and you help him out like with the local government and stuff, and then he's like, "Hey, here's your reward for it. There's like a fucking," and this is so dumb. They're like, "There's a post office or something that has a ton of money," and you're like, "Why the fuck would they have all this money?"
No, it's because he says that's like the money comes through and it makes a stop here, and that's because this is going on right now. So there's actually a lot. I'll give you my blessing to go grab that if you want to go grab that as like a tip. But he's playing the fuck out of you. He knows there's no money, and he owns the police, and he has the police ready to go as soon as that starts to happen.
Yeah, so then you become
played the fuck out of you.
Then you become
for
cop
like
killer.
No reason.
Cop killer number 1. No, I think it's just to show that he's in control here because Dutch thinks he's playing him, and he knows that Dutch is
the
trying.
only
He
reason they came to him in the first place was to get the kid back.
But he knew that they were setting their roots down to start making plays for in Saint Denis, and he wanted none of that.
Yeah.
He had a plan to get rid of you right away, and his plan would have worked if it wasn't for Arthur Morgan's god tier level.
Untouchable gunplay.
That's the only thing that saved him there.
Yeah, so
That's the
Bronte,
only thing that ever saves them.
Bronte
It would have
betrays
worked
you.
too if
It's
it weren't
same
for
thing
you
happened-
Vanderlins and your Arthur
it happened
Morgan.
in Valentine.
Yeah.
It happened in Rhodes. It happened in Saint Denis. It happened.
Meddling Morgans.
It happened. Yeah, it happened. Them meddling. It's that meddling Morgan that gets them out every time. Why do you think? When you had that conversation, when you had that peace deal that you're going to do with Colm Driscoll,
I know, he's being an
that the
asshole.
only target was Arthur Morgan, because without Arthur Morgan, Dutch Vanderlin's nothing. That's his
Yeah, he's
fucking
trash.
trump card. The whole plan of his that fake peace treaty between Colm O'Driscoll and Dutch was to grab you, and that's what Colm O'Driscoll said.
I mean, it's also plot convenience, but yeah.
Yeah.
You were the prize. And then, so there's a moment where you're hanging upside down. He goes, why are you running with him? Why don't you just run with us? And he's like, I thought you'd say that, so we're going to keep you here. So Dutch will come running after you, and we'll sell him to the law. You are the key to the West. They just didn't know you got sick. Well,
Yeah.
It's because John hadn't unlocked his potential yet, and Arthur was like the god.
Yes, correct. And you are the key. You are the reason why Dutch is so successful. Is
Yeah.
because you kill everyone who's in Dutch's way.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that the moment John becomes a god, it's like the moment Arthur dies.
I told you, it's as soon as I just said it a moment ago. It's when Arthur gives John his satchel. That's when he passed down the powers of the gunslinger.
It's the satchel of destiny.
Yes. So are the powers like actually Arthur's, or are they the satchels?
It's like the pick of destiny. It's just the satchel of destiny instead.
It's the satchel brings out the gunslinger in you.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, before this though, there is a scene where one of the characters, his name is Herr Strauss, and he's like a loan shark, and he sends you out on a mission, and you beat this guy up, and he coughs in your face, and the guy eventually dies, and you find out that he dies because you come back to his family for the money, and they don't have it, and then Arthur just increasingly over time just gets more and more sick, which leads to his eventual death in the game, but. As of this point, when you get to Saint Denis, he's starting to cough like a little
Depending
bit
on
more.
your honor, it leads to your eventual death. It would have led to your eventual death anyway, but
Yeah. So he's starting to get pretty sick here. Once you get betrayed by Bronte, he's like convinced that you're fucked. It's all over for you, and you do one of the coolest missions in the whole fucking game. Other than the best mission so far was the mission where you kill all the Braithwaites, I think. It was fucking awesome.
The Django Unchained scene.
And then there's another mission where the fucking O'Driscolls come and you have to hold them off at the swamp ass area in the game, and that was pretty cool. But I think the Bronte house mission is probably one of the best missions in the game because you find out he betrayed you and you fucking storm his house.
Oh yeah, you fucking wipe the shit out of
Any
him.
mission where it's the whole gang gets together to do it, that's going to be a good mission.
Yeah, any mission where it's the gang
Oh,
and
you
you're
mean
indoors.
the end chapter mission?
Yeah.
'Cause
That one's
that's-
great,
that's
too.
Always what it is. But I think my favorite mission is the one where, like, when they're coming back from rescuing John from the prison, or from scouting it, and he's like sniping people from the balloon.
Oh yeah, I got a sweet clip with the balloon guy. But before that, oh no, best mission in the game.
I was really sad
Lenny
when
drinking
Balloon Guy
mission.
died, because Balloon Guy was getting real into it.
Yeah.
Like when you were like murdering a bunch of people from like up in the sky. I was like, yeah, this is fucking amazing. And then he gets shot in the
Because he had the
face.
hots for Sadie Adler, that's just why.
I think the
Sadie
best
Adler is like the best character.
the
in
best
game.
mission in the game is from chapter 1 actually, and that's where you get drunk with Lenny.
Yes.
And you find all the Lennys, and you see the Lenny fucking the other Lenny.
Oh, you mean the thing that you didn't see?
I saw it on your tweet. But like that was amazing because like the writing
That
was perfect.
That was really funny. Walking into that room and they're just like,
I've never been so drunk.
Did
I
you-
see a bunch
did you
of
see
Schweiss
that?
heads everywhere.
Yeah, that's a lot of
did you
beer.
walk
No,
into
I
the
didn't.
room?
I
You didn't walk into the room and see the two.
That's the best mission in the game. But this one is great, the Bronte mission, because like there's a part where these dudes come down the stairs, and if you shoot the guy with the shotgun at the right point, he'll like launch backwards through the window, and he'll fly out the window, and it's just so fucking big and epic inside this house. But you
I
come
was
to-
so mad because at this point, one of my favorite weapons was that pump action shotgun. I had it fucking pimped out. I had my slugs ready to go, And then I get up to the door to break into the fucking
And
guy's
they give
house,
you
and they
another-
give me the fucking double barrel shotgun. I was so mad. I'm like, did I drop it? Did I put my shotgun on the ground? No, it's just fucking gone. And he's like, oh, break down the door, Arthur. I'm like, I'm finding the fucking gun I wanted to do this mission with, and you fucking took that from me. You took that from me. And then John Marston ended up breaking down the door because I was taking forever. And I'm like, oh man, I was so mad. I'm like, finally, I get to do a mission with the gun I want to do it with.
Close range mission.
And they give me a fucking double barrel instead of my pump action.
I love the double barrel.
The double barrel was fine until you get the pump action.
Did you ever get the repeater?
The repeating one, yeah. And I also got the semi-auto. All those shotguns I love, but there's something about that pump action shotgun that just gets it.
I like the repeater one because you have like 14 shots.
I was big on the sawed off double barrel. This is so brutal.
I was
So
big on the
nuts.
fucking pump action shotgun.
And this game is bloody as fuck. Like when you knock a
You
dude's
can
head
gore
off,
the
it's like
fuck out of people.
Why are
It's
there
like,
so
holy
many
shit.
missions in this game where it takes the weapons you've invested in away from you to make you use whatever weapon they want you to use?
to make you feel the intensity.
shitty mechanics.
Shitty mechanics. I hate that so much. I just want to use the guns I want to use, okay?
Yeah.
I put time in those guns. Give me my fucking guns. Don't take them
They're
from me.
taking the guns.
Don't take my guns.
So once you
Tread on me.
once you kill all of Bronte's guys, you come up into his room, and this is you kind of knock him out, or John Marston knocks him out
Yeah.
for taking his son. And this is one of the glitches that I had in the game. So the first time I got here, I went out into the garden area after this, and I died. No, the game froze, so I had to load it back up and do the mission again. And the second time, I saw some weird shit happening, so I was like, fuck, is it going to freeze again? Because in the background, John is supposed to be like, you know, like, hey, where the fuck is he? And he's like coming up with the stairs. But like in my game, in the background, John like kind of turned around and started walking towards the corner, and I was like, oh God, what's happening? What's going on? And
I only
then this
had
is
one glitch in the game. That was in the epilogue that I eventually made it fix itself.
oh nice, and this is what I got out of it.
Okay, no, I surrender.
He punches himself.
Yeah, it's Bronte like telling him like name your price, I surrender. And John Marston is supposed to be in there punching him, but John Marston is glitched into the corner, and so Bronte just like gets his hat knocked off and like falls to the ground, get
For
punched.
nothing, yeah.
Yeah, and I said it was Arthur's beard punching him, just like the beard came out.
I
Just,
surrender. And it's just the beard Chuck Norris fist.
yeah,
comes
the
out.
Chuck Norris fist out of the beard. And then you take Bronte out to the fucking the water area, and you feed him to the gators. You know,
No, you don't. Dutch Vanderlyn does. And that was another scene where John Marston goes, there's something going on with Dutch.
Yeah.
There's something weird going on. Like, he's not supposed to kill people like this. And then Dutch fucking drowns him inside the water and then feeds his body to the gators.
Yeah, and then after that is where I got this beautiful screenshot here. But yeah, Dutch is starting to become unhinged. You know, he's starting to go nuts. He's starting to just kill off a bunch of people. I mean, the whole mystery behind the Blackwater incident that got them fleeing in the first place came from Dutch fucking up and killing somebody. And Arthur wasn't there, so it's all hearsay. And he's basically still on Dutch's side, but he's becoming more and more doubtful.
More and more concerned because Dutch just seems to be spiraling down. And then that's what starts to divide in the camp. Those who are with Dutch, and then those are, and then Micah being the one who's causing a lot of dissent as well. And those who are like afraid of what's happening in Dutch. And Jose was definitely on the side of, things are not going the way they should be.
Yeah.
And then Jose dies because of the bank mission that goes south.
Yeah, this is where Dutch kind of convinces everyone, and he becomes convinced that they can't stay in the United States. He's like, well, we're going to have to flee.
Dutch? Tahiti?
We were meant to be going further west, and yet we keep going further east.
Yeah. I'm thinking of that like Beach Boys song, the fucking...
Surfing USA?
Yeah, Surfing USA song. Bahamas, oh, come on, a pretty mama. Da-na-na, da-na-na. All this random song. That's what he should have started doing. And in the background, the gang is just doing the little, like, Hulu dance, But Dutch is, he's starting to be like, we can't live here anymore. United States is out. We got to go south. And he starts coming up with all these random places like, Tahiti and, like, Fiji and shit. And this is where he convinces the gang to, like Cameron said, do another fucking bank robbery, because what could go wrong with yet another bank robbery in this game? And it goes fucking south because the Pinkertons find him and they kill
Seems
fucking,
like they were ready. They were ready for us, Dutch.
Yeah. And this is where it's like you start getting the idea that someone in the gang is betraying everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's pretty obvious who it is when you play it a
it's
little bit
not
longer.
fucking subtle.
Right
Is
in the
it
beginning.
obvious?
Oh, did you not know who it
Is
was?
it obvious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets pretty obvious about 10 minutes after.
Did you not
this.
know who it was before? Like it told you who it was?
I did not.
Oh, really? Oh, man, I knew.
But then I was
It-
blowing through the game
it's-
as fast as I could.
I thought
so-
maybe John for about 5 minutes, and then I got the next cutscene, and I'm like, oh,
it was
I know who it is.
obvious right from the get-go. Like that, you can't see that guy. Okay, I'm just gonna spoil it. It was fucking Micah, the asshole who's been an asshole the entire fucking game, and more of a villain than Dutch. And
Yeah.
so
He was the one who was egging
so
Dutch on in his
obviously
insanity.
the mole. And by the way, they should have figured out there was a fucking mole from the very beginning when the fucking Pinkertons came to visit them at the second time they relocated by the fucking river when he took Jack fishing. There's no way they would have just found them and been like, hey, we're looking for you still. We're just going to have a nice conversation. They knew where they fucking were that whole time. They were just waiting to have enough people to fucking take them out.
Yeah.
So they didn't even think about moving or looking for someone who may have told them where they were, because that they relocated from the fucking mountains where nobody would have known where they were outside the O'Driscolls.
That's a good point, yeah. And they don't start thinking maybe something's going on until here, until
Which
the
is
big...
like near the end.
Pretty much, yeah. And there's a big, brutal scene where they kill Hosea. They just gun him down in the streets, the Pinkertons do. And
That's also when Lenny dies.
yeah, Lenny's like running up to a door, and some guy comes down and just fucking blasts Lenny. That was the real tragedy. I don't really care about Hosea.
Yeah,
I
Lenny
had
was a
moment
pretty
to
cool
mourn
character up until that moment where he died.
Yeah, and they arrest John, and this is where you, Dutch, Bill, Javier, and Micah escape, and you fucking get on a boat heading to Cuba. And this is kind of where the game, it almost seems like the game derails for a little while and becomes like a different game to me. I don't know if you guys
when
felt
you
that.
go to Cuba, it fucking halts
actually go
the
to
game.
Cuba. On
It's
your,
just like
on
a
your
random-
escape. On your escape
It's a
to
Guarma.
so you get on the boat
Yeah, it's
and then
just
you
a
find out
fucking
where it was
random
going.
island.
Oh, it's going to Cuba. Once we get there, I guess we're gonna find a way to get back. And then it's the boat fucking sinks in a storm and you get washed ashore into Guarma.
Really cool, like, boat sinking scene, too. I thought that was cool, how you were trying to get out and, like, you couldn't. I don't know. I like this game a lot. I like what they do visually for most of the epic
Cool
parts.
visual stuff.
But this is a weird
this
part.
This
yeah.
part is very removed from the rest of the game.
Although I would argue it's similar
and
to
has
the
no point.
it's similar to the Italy part in the original Godfather film, because we have a scene where Michael goes to Italy for a while, and yeah, the movie's not as intense and as like epic and crazy as it is, but it's just a beautiful area, and the character really comes into himself there. And I would
They
argue
send
that
him to go to Italy because, like, I don't think he's been there before, and so they wanted him to like know his country.
well, they sent him there because he
And
killed
I'm-
the cop.
Well, that was another reason, but I mean, they wanted him to be safe with the family,
And then
like,
he
he's never
realizes
been there.
that he can never be safe because his girlfriend, the woman he wants to marry, gets fucking blown up, and he decides that he wants to go back and be the Godfather.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that this area has a similar thing for Arthur, but at the same time, Arthur was already sort of careening towards his end path anyway of, this gang is a joke, this thing is not going to work, I should try to save
he questions
John.
Dutch like basically twice every chapter. He's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this?" Because like
Arthur.
Dutch gets progressively
I just
more
need a little faith
paranoid.
from you, Arthur. I am sick and tired of all the dissent all the time.
The only one who even remotely keeps Dutch in line is Hosea.
Yeah, and then Hosea dies, and that was
and
his
then
other
everything
other
just goes to
then Micah
shit
is talking to it.
immediately after
Just
that.
have a little faith in the plan.
Why don't you believe in me like Micah does?
Yeah. So once you get to Guarma, you like jump right in on this fucking civil war that's going on between the sugar plantation owners and the enslaved population of the island.
Yeah.
Some pretty great shit goes on here. You basically, and this is the one time that you and your gang help somebody out, and it's just you're just helping them out.
I think
You're helping them out because they're
going
going to help you escape from the island.
But you don't
I think
fuck
this
them
island
over,
scene-
like-
I think this island scene was supposed to make the gang feel like the gang, how it did in the past, where you guys were outlaws on the run and you're helping the small guy at the same time, which was what the original gang was. Where your plan with Dutch and your plan that was going on, you were fine with that. You almost felt like a good old fashioned family again. That was supposed to be like a little sight into that, but then when you make it back, that's when things go drastically downhill.
And I think the nostalgic factor of what they had with the family when they were at their peak is what made them go back, because they were ready to just abandon everybody. They were like, fuck it, man. Everyone's dying. John's in jail. Hosea got shot. Lenny's dead. Like, let's just get the fuck out of here.
I don't know about that, Cam. That entire thing was just a huge disconnect, especially like after they kidnapped Javier and then they were like, and Dutch was just ready to leave him and let him die, just so that those two could escape and just be on their own.
I didn't say that was like my favorite part of the game. Far from it. But
well, I know. But like,
I was saying
just,
though, story wise, it made it feel like the gang again was more cohesive. That was less questions, less questioning, and just more of, we're now a part of the gang again. And then you saw a little bit of the sadisticness that Dutch would go to, but it was all an effort to keep the gang together instead of
Well, he gets really fucking pissed at Dutch when he sees Dutch just murder this old lady. He's like,
that
she
too,
would have told on us. She would have
actually,
freaked
that's
out.
true. That's true too, because
I mean, because
Dutch keeps changing the story.
I feel like,
Dutch keeps changing his story.
Yeah,
like
he
a
keeps
classic
changing
lying
what's going to
story.
happen.
He's like,
yeah,
so he's like, I heard her. She was like saying, she was going to say blah blah blah. So, Spanish. He was
feel like
no, I just saw it in her eyes, and he just keeps changing his kind of version of why he was doing what he was doing.
I feel like the real point of the island was to have Arthur see how crazy Dutch was getting, which they could have done in other ways, and ways that didn't feel like a complete remove.
And I mean,
I knew
from
Dutch
the rest
was
of the game.
was going crazy when he choked out the woman and didn't take his gold bar back from her corpse. He just
it was pretty fucking obvious.
Come on, man. Fucking grab that gold.
I know. and I mean, I think it's sort of this chapter, it did feel a little disconnected, especially when I started playing it. By the end of it, I didn't really have a problem with it because it was a cool part. I mean, you're killing a bunch of fucking plantation guys.
Cool,
you got a fucking
but
cannon
it also
at
just
the
like
end.
there's no story progression at all.
Yeah, there's some character progression. You
it was
truly
mostly
see
for the
how
character
willing
progression.
Dutch is to leave people
the
behind.
The entire character progression was
When you
literally
strip
just
away
Dutch getting like way crazier, and they could have done that anywhere else, and they did it better.
Well,
in
I mean,
other
it showed
times.
it in a more intimate way because we had Javier that was captured, and Dutch was willing to leave him behind. So the whole idea behind leaving everyone
I know,
behind
but he was
on the-
also willing to like
he
let
was left- no,
like when
I
you
thought-
the bank mission was a pretty obvious thing that he was willing to let everybody let go.
Right, but most of them were dead or captured. So he was like, fuck it, we can't help him, so let's just leave. And now we could help Javier, but we're going to leave anyway. So that really shows the advanced state of Dutch is really looking out for Dutch, and he only keeps people around that are going to help him stay alive, basically, and stay on top. You're right, it is kind of a long chapter for doing that.
It's
that
a
one
really
thing.
long chapter for like basically one scene.
Yeah. So you help the revolution. You help them take over the kill off the plantation guys and the enslaved bullshit, and you get your way back to the United States. I do think that is a weird chapter, and it did feel like kind of disconnected for me personally. It's not a huge deal.
It was definitely disconnected from the rest of the story.
But that's just how it felt for me. So the group reunites, and Dutch starts talking about getting another. He wants like one big heist because he's still obsessed with this idea of fleeing the country. And he's like, we just need a bunch of money.
He just wants to have enough money to like, get somewhere and like basically build their own town, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me since their whole thing is they don't want to have a town, but yet they want to build a town.
Yeah,
with their own rules.
They want to build Deadwood.
It's their town
That's what they want.
with their own rules and their own plans.
Yeah, but it's still a version of civilization, which basically they're trying to run from the entire time.
The camp is their own version of civilization. Because the camp has their own set of rules, and they were just going to make a town with their own plan. Stop dissenting the plan.
And this is the part where John and they're like, John is kidnapped and his wife is freaking out. Like, hey, we got to get John back. And he's like, I got a plan. We're going to do it on my time. And then Sadie is crazy. And Sadie I like a lot. We forgot to mention her.
Sadie is my favorite character of the game.
We find her basically being raped by the men who killed her husband in this house, and that's the first house you come across in the Rockies, and where you kill off the first batch of fucking O'Driscolls because they did what you were gonna do.
Yeah.
First, of course, you probably would have tried to be more diplomatic about it. Than they do.
And at first she's kind of like broken and kind of receded into herself, and then she gets fucking angry and she goes nuts.
Yeah, and she stabs the shit out of people. She gets her
hands on some weapons, and she becomes the most brutal killing machine the West has ever seen.
She becomes the female version of Arthur Morgan, or I guess an early.
I feel like she surpasses his levels.
Yeah, of like brutality, probably.
Just brutality.
So this is where they kind of like decide they're not going to listen to Dutch, and they go rescue. Fucking
because
John Marston.
John is about to be executed within the next couple days, and Dutch.
So after they decide they're going to go get John, this is where we get the awesome air balloon scene with one of the coolest side characters. This is something I mentioned earlier in the episode. I think they build the side characters in this universe very well, and this
just a few of them, yeah.
This balloon operator guy was pretty fucking great.
He was one of my favorite characters.
And he died, like, immediately. And it was totally your fault for getting him
He
into
dies, like, immediately after he starts enjoying what's happening.
Yeah, and I think it was because he liked Sadie. I think it was hinting at that. So when she was getting chased by the O'Driscolls, he's like, yeah, get them. Is that Sadie Adler? Help her.
Yeah. There's a lot of great characters in there, and he is definitely one of the fun little side guys. So... This is kind of where everything starts to sort of unhinge for Dutch. He starts to doubt Arthur's loyalty. There's a lot of, you need to have faith, Arthur. There's a lot of the shit that we've been quoting all episode going on where Arthur's just like...
He does that a lot. Every time there's like a Dutch Arthur cutscene, that's pretty much what's happening.
You know what I wish they would have done? I wish they would
have to have faith in the plan, Arthur.
I wish they would have had Jay Leno voice Arthur Morgan. You know, because then like his moments of like discern, he'd be like, no, I don't know, Dutch. It's kind of a bad plan. You gotta have faith, Arthur. No, Dutch. Come on, it's lost like half.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, it's like come on, Dutch. Just sit down for a second and just. We gotta have a plan. I got a plan, Arthur. No, Dutch. I know you got a plan, but the plan is going to be...
Sounds horrible.
Hey, that sounds like the guy would still win the best voice actor for Arthur Morgan. You'd have to give him a huge chin, and that would be the only alteration you'd have to make to the character, and it would be totally believable. But anyway, there's a lot of like dissenting shit going on. Javier and... Not Javier, Jesus. Micah is really starting to become the worm tongue in Dutch's ear, getting Dutch to just adding to Dutch's clear insanity. He's sort of taken Hosea's place as his right-hand man, which is kind of ridiculous because Arthur was always like the linchpin, you know, but like suddenly
Arthur
Micah
and John were basically Dutch and Hosea's sons, and like he passes him over completely for Micah because he's kissing his ass the whole time.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's because he views them as sons, you know, as his children, that he can't let him be the right-hand man, I guess. But like this guy's a total newbie, like, and he's an asshole, and he's got the handlebar. You can't trust him. Just look at him. You can't trust him.
Well, the thing that's really sketchy is the fact that he joined them like a couple months right before the Blackwater incident. That's been like haunting them the whole time, and no one questions it. As soon as like they get Pinkertons all up in their asshole, and that he's like, he's always around Dutch and talking to Dutch and just like
got
up in
Pinkertons
Dutch's
clapping our ass
asshole.
We got Pinkertons on our assholes, Dutch.
They're slapping our ass cheeks together, Dutch.
Yeah. I
We
got a
gotta get out of
plan.
here.
I got a
I
plan.
have a plan where you get AIDS, Arthur, and you give it to the Pinkertons.
You can go. You can.
That you have to have faith in the plan, Arthur.
You can go
All
from
this dissent is getting on my nerves.
Arthur, we all know you could go from the Pinkerton to the Stinkerton, but you can't go Stinkerton to Pinkerton, Arthur. You just can't do it. You'll get that tuberculosis, Arthur. I told you time and time again.
When you go Stinkerton, when you go Stinkerton, Arthur, you get the pink eye, and the Pinkertons want you to have that pink eye, Arthur. I know. Your questioning me is getting on my nerves.
Yeah. Don't eat out to Stinkerton, Arthur. Get that pink eye. 9 times out of 10, I'll tell you what. But the Pinkertons do a seriously brutal assault on your little bayou place.
I just thought of two in the Pinkerton. One of the
Remember, Arthur, 2 in the Pinkerton, 1 in the Stinkerton. That's the plan. Oh man, that's fucking that's good. Jesus. So huge assault on the base. Yeah. Kill a bunch of people. It's good. This is where you finally understand. You figure out
But the Gatling gun when they assault, and then that was just a good moment where they send hundreds of Pinkertons against you,
and you just
the
you
14
give them,
of you. Like I said, you're the secret fucking weapon.
Yeah, you give them the Stinkerton, and the Stinkerton is that minigun, that mounted Stinkerton.
You're
really.
the $10,000 man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's right after you find out you have tuberculosis. He goes to the doctor. The doctor says, "Oh, you're fucked." For some reason, I kept confusing it with bronchitis, and I was like, "Is it really that bad?" And then I was like, "Oh, wait, no, this is TB. This is the thing that when it outbreaks in real life, it's like fucking oh shit."
You went to the doctor. The doctor said, "No more Arthur. He's gonna die in bed."
Oh shit! So yeah, he's fucked, and you start getting these weird scenes where he's really getting super sick, and this has been happening for a little while, where he starts blacking out almost. It reminds me of the scenes in the Max Payne 3 games where he has his super bingey nights where he gets super high on his pain pills, and he's just everything's all wonky. You're starting to get a lot of that, and now you finally got the diagnosis, and then of course you relocate once again, and you decide to sort of stage a conflict between the U.S. Army and the Native American tribe, and this is kind of one of the last areas in the game. There's you come across a dude in the town, and I can't remember what his name is, but he's like, "Hey, my son is very volatile right now, and he wants to strike out against the army for taking their land because they had some kind of land
Eagle
deal."
Flies and Rain Falls.
Yeah. Rain Falls is the dad, right? Yeah. It's kind of symbolic of his age and his mode. He doesn't want to go out and fight like his son does. Yeah. But he's, the whole idea is he wants you to go look and investigate and help his son out, and try to dissuade his son from being violent. And of course, Dutch views it as, oh, hey, we can use these guys to incite violence against the army, create this huge conflict to distract them, so that we can pull off one big heist. Because the 10,000 police in Saint Denis. I don't know why you'd think, oh, if the army's distracted, we can just rob this city, because we killed so many goddamn cops in Saint Denis when we tried to rob that fucking little outpost thing. What do you think's going to happen when they rob
they started assaulting you and on your way out of the city when you started murdering them like crazy?
Yeah, it's like the army's the least of your fucking problems, And this is where the gang starts to kind of fall apart.
And this is where also you're going through more of like, I'm going to die. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Dutch is going crazy. And what can I do to make things right? And part of that is when you become invested with, rain falls and eagle flies, and you're seeing Dutch being crazy, and you see Dutch is egging eagle flies on. He's egging him on as a way to distract the army and distract the government away from trying to track down the gang, as a way for them to escape.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a part where Eagle Flies is like, we're going to hold up this army thing, this like battalion or whatever, group of army soldiers, and we're going to like tell them, we're going to scare them into doing this thing. And then Dutch just starts opening fire, and it starts a firefight. You can't really stop that, and so you end up killing off this whole thing to just escalate matters further.
The army's going to pin it on the Indians there, especially when you have Indians doing a lot of the work.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Dutch says. He's like, this is a way for us to get out. And he's like, what the fuck, man? Like,
and so Eagle Flies gets captured from that, and then you basically, for Rain Falls, break Eagle Flies out of prison and to bring him back. But that doesn't really help them in the end, because Eagle Flies is still hot-headed, and he's angry about all the wrongs that have been done to him and his people, and Dutch is just egging him on because he needs what's now located inside the oil company, the oil facility.
Yeah.
Sure, like a shitload of bonds.
Yeah. This is after this whole conflict between these, like a bunch of people are like jumping ship basically, and this is where Dutch and Micah want the final heist where they rob the army payroll train. And this is like
but before that, there's another moment that we shouldn't skip over, and it's when you are with Dutch and you're going to the office to find the bonds, and you find the bonds. The money's actually there, and then you start to he's like, you're like a son to me, Arthur. Everything I'm doing is for us, so we can get out of here. And you, for a moment, start to believe Dutch again. But then you get jumped by the army, and they pin you to the ground, and you just watch Dutch walk away. Dutch had the power to save you at that moment, and he doesn't. He walks away.
Well, he did the same thing during the bank heist
to John.
To John.
But you've only heard about that, so it's just to you. It's just you heard that could be going on. I mean, you like John, but to an extent.
I think that was the army and the natives. Yeah, because then Dutch leaves, and then
you have that experience.
Eagle Flies saves you.
You have that experience where Dutch walks out and leaves you when he had the chance, and you confront him about it. And so it's just he's like, no, I didn't leave you, and you can't really move on it because you guys have to go. But you're starting to see that Dutch is ready to cut ties and start leaving people behind.
Yeah.
And then before he would never do that. And the whole question is Dutch going crazy, or is he showing more of what his true self really is?
Yeah. I think he's just becoming more what his true self is. Like he wants
John
to.
has the same opinion. He says that in the epilogue when they're on their way to get Micah, and Sadie Adler said something like, "Oh, the man who put a blanket around me when you guys rescued me is no longer there." And he's like, "I don't think he was ever that man. He's just showing what he actually is."
Yeah, he just wanted to be. Or at least wanted people to think that's who he was, so that he can get the influence and the shit that he
just
needs.
Wanted power,
because he was never good at convincing any of these fucking people in the game that he was a great guy, and it's because they could all see through it. And the only people that couldn't were you guys. But yeah, the camp is disbanding. Everyone's getting the fuck out of here. This is a new hideout where it's like the cannibal people, where you fucking take over their cave.
You find this cave, and then it's just this group of. It's like the Hills Have Eyes type people.
Yeah, and you fuck them over.
And then you keep getting ambushed by them later. I hated that camp.
Did you guys ever get ass raped in the fucking bog area?
I never found that guy. I was looking for that just to see.
You were looking to get ass
I wanted to,
you had that ass rape
everybody
outfit
kept telling
on.
me about that fucking mission, so I went out there and started see if I could find that guy. Maybe kill him right before it happened, but it never.
I think I was trying to kill the boar. I was just out there kind of dinking around, jacking off in the woods, and there was this guy in his little fucking stilt house, in the bog, this toothless fucker, and he was like, "Why don't you come on in? I got cooking up some dinner." And I was like, "Okay." So I was trying to do everything in the game, experience it all, and I walk in, and then Arthur gets clubbed over the top of the head, and he passes out. And then, you see some weird shit going on. The guy's, almost naked. And then you wake up just, in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure that guy raped me. He said he was going to feed me, and he clubbed me, and he had his way with me, and then he dumped my body.
Did you go back?
No, I don't remember where it was. That was just fucking random place.
Huh.
I bet you he's still there though, because this game like does a really good job with the NPCs and like giving them things that they do.
Yeah.
So he's probably out there waiting to rape everybody else in the world. But yeah, everything's starting to derail. A lot of people are leaving. You actually kick. You fucking kick Herr Strauss out because you finally realize how destructive his loans are and stuff like that, and you're like,
I never progressed that story far enough.
oh, well, you can boot him out of the camp once you get tired of him, and so he's basically cleaning house, getting rid of everybody. Most people are leaving. This is where you get a scene where Cornwall like comes into town, and Dutch is like, "Oh, we're just gonna go talk to Cornwall, like we're gonna go figure out what's going on." And then you see him with the Pinkertons, and you realize that the Pinkertons were only on you because of Cornwall, which is really Dutch's fault for trying to rob that fucking train after they escaped. And so he's kind of feeding him information, and then Dutch goes crazy, blasts Cornwall, all hell breaks loose. You guys got to leave. You tell John to get the fuck out. Like, John needs to go start his own life, blah, blah, blah. Live for both of us. It becomes like a weird... Honestly, this game, it's like Final Fantasy VII in a lot of ways, where, like, fucking Arthur is like...
He goes Zack mode?
Yeah, Arthur is Zack, and he's like, live for both of us. Take my hat and my beard and all of my possessions. Take the satchel. And the satchel is the fucking Buster Sword. And he gives it to him, and he lives as if he were Arthur Morgan. Except for he doesn't have, like, weird identity crises quite the same way that Cloud does in Final Fantasy VII. But it's kind of similar to that. He gives him his prized satchel that he never upgraded in my game, at least. Because
I never upgraded.
How the fuck do you get expert-level kills, for God's sake, or expert-level pelts?
Oh, those are random.
I know, but you have to kill them.
You can tell when you like are aiming at. There's a way to tell if they're.
They have stars, but you have to kill them in a way that like is very.
Oh,
perfect.
I got perfect level deer hide. Then
shooting them in the head or with the bow is usually what.
So you have to shoot them in the head. It has to be a head or a neck kill on deer in order to get perfect level pelts.
Well, fuck, I never did that.
And yeah, that's what you got to do.
So I had a level 1 satchel that was apparently the satchel of the gods,
I don't really think it upgrades anything. I just think it
changes the way
it looks. Yeah.
I think you can get like capacity and stuff, or I know you
maybe,
can do,
but I don't think that it
really. The only thing that matters is ammo capacity. You just buy better bandoliers and whatnot.
Yeah, and you don't even really need the ammo capacity because you could just buy every ammo type and just have like hundreds of ammo.
I needed that
you.
because I only shot express rounds out of everything. I got the two the two most expensive pistols, and they don't do as much damage as the other ones, but if you just hip fire those with express rounds, it fucking shreds people. It's bah, 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 bah.
Yeah,
it's so good. I loved it.
I wish I would have done more with the guns and the shit.
The guns and the horses were the two things that kept me going back to the game.
So
not Dutch's plans, because I got fed up with those like Arthur Morgan.
Yeah. So once you kill the Cornwall, that's when you find out that that's when you see Dutch left for dead. Oh no, he leaves John for dead, because this is the part of the heist where they're like trying to rob the train, and John gets like shot, and they like just leave John. John gets like blasted off of his horse, and they're like, "Fuck it!"
It's like, we couldn't get him. He's dead. And it's like either the law has him or he's dead. And it's like, I saw it. Don't worry. And then John comes stumbling back later.
Yeah, he's all,
you left me for dead, Dutch.
He's all pissed off. You have a big confrontation here where you kill the Milton guy. Milton is like the big dude of the Pinkertons. He's like the leader of the Pinkertons, and he has John's wife and kid hostage. And you kill him off, and you kind of allow John to sort of live his own life.
Does he have Jack? I thought he only had Abigail.
I think he might have just had Abigail, actually. I think you're right. I think Jack was still at camp. So one time Jack doesn't get kidnapped, right? So everything collapses. We accuse Micah of the betrayal. Everyone turns on Arthur, basically, and John, and the Pinkertons show up. Everyone escapes. You get kind of chased. Arthur is like fucking dying, like just coughing up a lung. He's bleeding a ton. He's getting super, super weak. and you this is where you get like one of your final choices. So the game's ending is based on the honor system that the game has. It's very similar to Fable. And it's kind of similar to the effects it has, because Fable, it doesn't really matter that much what you do.
Yeah.
And in this
but
one,
this one, it'll affect the ending. The final choice will affect the ending, and then your final honor will affect the ending as well.
So at the very end of the game, you have the choice to either go with John and help John escape,
or you can go back into the hideout and try and get the money.
Yeah, try to get the gang's money, which is like Dutch has just had a shitload of money this whole game. Like a ton of fucking money that he doesn't.
All the money
touch.
that you've been saving from the
heists and stuff.
The heists that it never lets you use to upgrade the camp is what he's been keeping, which is like 50% of everything that you earned in the heists, which is a fuckload of money.
Yeah, it's a ton. So there's a lot of money back there, and you can either choose to go grab it or go with John and help him out. This is where Micah ambushes the two of you, and there's like a big fight, and like the Pinkertons are just laying waste to everybody, and they're coming, you know, and the whole thing is like this is kind of your final stand, and you're up on this mountaintop, and you're kind of blasting the Pinkertons, and that's when Micah shows up, and he starts fighting with Arthur Morgan. And the difference is here, you can either, if you have high honor, you fight off Micah, and then Dutch comes and kills Micah.
Yeah.
He shoots Micah down.
No, he does not.
No, he doesn't kill
No,
Micah.
he does not kill Micah. So this is at
Does
the
he
end.
give you your gun then?
No. So this is what happens. If you have high honor ending...
oh, you're right. He just lets him fucking go.
Dutch just... so what happens is you're done fighting Micah, you're crawling for the gun, Dutch steps on the gun so you can't grab it, and then you go, "Why, Dutch? You know, he was the rat this whole time." And Dutch looks at you and looks at Micah, and Micah's like, "Come on, Dutch, let's go, me and you." And then Dutch kind of like leaves both of you behind, and then Micah runs away, and then you get to die to tuberculosis while watching the sunset.
And that's what I wanted to happen, was Micah getting shot down by Dutch. I was like, oh, it's totally what's going to happen. No, I don't know why I thought that happened, because you have the whole prologue, the epilogue chapter where he kills him.
Okay, but yeah, in the epilogue chapter, Micah totally gets shot by Dutch.
Yeah, that's... No, he does shoot him.
Doesn't. I mean, he does. He shoots him in the gut, but you also
But you're the one who
him.
kill him.
Oh,
but
so
he gets shot by Dutch.
I'm mixing up where he shoots him.
He shoots Micah so that he releases Sadie.
Yeah, and then you
shoot the fuck out of
Micah.
Micah.
But
I wanted him to kill him now, though.
I've seen the bad honor version of that, where you're on that mountain side, where now you and Micah are now talking to each other, and he's like, "You and I aren't so different." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Well, to hell with you, and damn you," and then Micah just caps you in the head right there.
See, that's like a brute force ending. That's almost like the scene in fucking. Oh shit! What is that? What is that Scorsese movie with that won Best Picture? I love the movie. It's got Mark Wahlberg. It's got
The Departed.
The Departed. Yeah, it's like the Departed scene where fucking Leo he comes out of the elevator and he just gets shot in the top of the head like immediately, and he's just dead. That's almost like a brute ending. But our ending for Arthur, at least, was like. It was pretty heart-wrenching. It was pretty great, Everyone leaves. He's left to die. He feels like he's redeemed himself to some extent.
Yeah, he saved John. He helped him get out, and he gave him his shit so that he could escape.
Yeah, he made his life worthwhile in his own eyes, and he just fucking dies there of tuberculosis. Epic beard. Sunset. He's just laying on the mountains, and just epic beard, sheening in the light, and that's how it fucking ends. And that's how I honestly kind of wish the game ended that way. I know the epilogue's final chapter
should have ended that way, and it kind of... I was a little disappointed in the game for doing it, but it immediately, like a minute afterwards, throws you into playing as John.
To one of the other listeners who was on a party with me, I was talking about it later. I'm like, they needed to do Arthur more reverence there at the end. We needed to feel more of the impact of what happened losing Arthur, and then
I would have
kind of like maybe doing more of a recap before doing the epilogue.
I think they should have just done credits. Honestly, it should have been credits with the song continuing, and it should have just
then
after the credits rolled into the epilogue, because that's basically what happens at the end of Red Dead.
Yeah.
And then
and that's kind of what happens at the end of a book.
No, but so this is their take on
after
it,
it's all
where you're seeing part of Arthur's redemption. You're seeing Arthur's redemption is in John Marston being able to start his life, and that's part of that wouldn't have happened unless without Arthur's sacrifice, which is why they're doing it that way. And so it's setting up that
I know
epilogue.
what it's for, but it doesn't. It just. They didn't do Arthur justice.
I agree that we needed to give more weight to that
cut it short
scene
really quick.
They need to give more weight, and then it was like abruptly you're now just driving a wagon after having this huge emotional moment.
Yeah, and then you basically just like have a fight with Jack. Like,
you see the deer vision thing,
more.
the deer vision that he keeps having, or
it's a wolf that he keeps seeing like all the fucking time, which is super weird.
Oh, mine was a deer.
Mine was a deer.
What? Really?
It's different. Yeah, it's a different animal. The deer ending is the true good ending, correct?
The wolf makes more sense to me, but okay.
He just kept seeing this, and he saw the deer. Dude, it was a beautiful ending. It was fucking good. I was like, wow, if I had emotions left, I would probably be tearing up right now. I was like, that is a beautiful ending to this game.
Because they didn't give me more of an opportunity to tear up there. But
if it had lingered a little bit longer, I may have shed a tear.
That's not the actual ending of the game. It's because you need to see John Marston becoming the family man he wanted
living
to
his life,
and that's the ending of the game. That's where the redemption ends for Arthur Morgan.
Yeah, I kind of like Arthur Morgan more
as a character. I like Arthur Morgan more.
I like his John better.
I like his game more. I like his redemption more. I think this is. I like this one more.
Now we got to talk about the prologue.
Or the epilogue, god damn it.
Yeah, the epilogue, god damn it.
Pro is before, epi
I know,
is after.
I know. I just did it because
How the fuck did you know Zeta was C, but you didn't?
Gamma is C.
Or Gamma is C. See,
Omega
I don't even fucking
is
know.
C.
There you go.
BT dubs.
See, there you go. But the epilogue, another moment where it was kind of like the Guarma part for me, where I was like, oh, God. It's funny because the whole game I was like, man, I wish I was playing as John Marston. Thinking back to like Red Dead Redemption 1. And then when Arthur Morgan died, I was like, God damn it, I have to play as John Marston now. Like, fuck, I don't want to play this game as John Marston. Like, I feel like shit after watching that ending. And now I got to fucking play John, this bumbling idiot trying to be...
Yeah.
Try to live normally. And I'm just like, oh.
The entire first epilogue, I don't like. It's pretty bad because it's nothing but
slow.
like it's
slow
really slow and nothing but busy work, and then there's like
literally busy work. You milk cows.
You literally shovel shit. But I mean, it just is way too slow for being an epilogue. It should just have like the wrap up moment, and it just doesn't have that. It's like
it was supposed to show you the struggle.
Hours.
It was supposed to show you the struggle of John Marston still being an outlaw at heart, but then him struggling with the boring menial work that he's not good at.
But the struggle
makes the
comes
more violent moments feel more violent in comparison, which is what it was trying to do.
No, I disagree completely. The entire reason that it feels like he has a struggle there is because his wife is like, no more violence, no more.
It's because
she's being a complete...
It's the same reason why you kept getting chased around when Dutch was calling shots and Dutch was bringing around the violence. She was telling you not to do that because every time you commit acts of violence...
Okay, it's completely
it makes
different
people come after
because
you.
they're completely
retarded
in the rest of the game.
Because when even though you weren't there for it, you kill a guy who is trying to rob you, and because you killed the guy and you have to face the repercussion for it, you have Mid coming after you and putting Jack in danger. And that is because the more violence begets violence. That's what they're trying to say. You being a violent man is what makes you speed up the person on the run.
That's yes and no, because like the thing that she mostly gets mad at is that he like does anything to defend himself or the people that are around, because the people on the farm get jumped by these dudes who are obviously trying to rob them, trying to kill them, and John steps in and saves the dude's life. and she's just like, "Why the fuck did you do that?"
Yeah, Abigail is the wife you never want to have.
Yeah, the
She's
entire
just gonna
first
nag
prologue.
your fucking ear off.
Yeah, that's all she is.
Like you get
she
blown
just
away
does
in front of
nothing
your
but-
fucking barn.
But nag,
She
and
knows
it's
when
always
once you start killing people, once you start doing that,
And
there's
that's-
no coming back from it because it'll follow you around.
But he didn't kill anybody the first time. She fucking got on his balls for it. And she kept going after him. And then, and he only does it in defense of the people on the farm and defense of them. And she gets fucking pissed and takes Jack away from him.
But you
And-
see when he starts doing stuff like that, how easy it was for Sadie Adler to find out where he was. You see, it's because when he starts doing stuff like that, people start to find you, and that's what they're running from. She wants to just
But
find
he's
her farm
also
and
kind
live
of
in
a
seclusion.
moron, and so is his wife.
Yeah,
and they
they're-
both use their real names when they
That's why they need
shouldn't.
someone like Dutch Vanderlyn to
doesn't-
tell them what to
it
do.
literally
'Cause without
doesn't-
Dutch and without a guy with a brain, they would just be lost.
The violence by itself isn't going to be the thing that draws people there. It's
No,
not
the
like
violence will draw people
they're,
there.
they're defending their farm. It must be John Marston working on that farm, and not his wife totally ordered something in his
Milton,
name,
John
and then
Marston.
they constantly tell people in the towns, "Oh yeah, my name's John Marston. Oh yeah, my husband's name is John Marston, not Jim Milton." Like it's are you fucking retarded? Of course, it's going to bring people there. Like
Well-
the violence by itself of defending their farm from dudes who are obviously like brigands isn't going to be
No,
consequential
so
in any way.
Violence lets the people on the ranch know that he's actually a gunslinger and not just.
Well, they
a
didn't
normal
believe
average
his fucking
person.
story in the
'Cause
first
he was-
place
'cause he-
because he
he's
struggled
dumb.
with the telling him that his name was John or Jim
Jim
Milton.
Milton.
He couldn't fucking do it, so they're like, "Yeah, we don't really believe."
We should do a
you.
John Marston voice.
Yeah. My name's Jim Milton.
His voice is really difficult. I don't think any of us could possibly do it.
years.
No, it's just. Don't you see it, Arthur? I can't do
It's
it.
a really thin, raspy voice, but
Yeah.
somewhat deep.
Come
at the same
on,
time.
give me those unfiltered cigarettes. I don't want these pussy filters on here.
No, you have to sound like you're almost yelling all the time because that's the only way you could be heard.
Abigail. Yeah, that was pretty decent, but yeah, it's getting fucking painful. I don't know how the hell, unless that guy sounds like that, whoever voices him, that's got to be hell to voice this guy in this game. Like just getting your voice to sound like that. Just God. But yeah, I kind of agree with Cameron though. I mean, the whole point of his wife keeping him away from the violence, it's not so much to keep him hidden. For me, it's because he knows.
It's because she knows that's another person he can be, and by doing violence, that's more likely to stay that type of person.
And that's how he's got his money in the past. That's how he knows he can get it in the future. And currently, and by being violent and by doing these illegal things and these acts
Which
that
is
get him in
also
trouble.
why he wanted to be a bounty hunter too.
At the end of the game, like the epilogue second part, it kind of sounds more like that's not really why she cared. It was more like she was afraid that he was going to get killed in one of these fights. And that's
Yeah.
the only reason that she actually cared. And not because they could have gotten discovered or because he could have changed to be that person.
That's
the
what
whole
she
time,
should have
'cause
been concerned
that's
about,
what
is getting caught.
He was that person the entire time and she still fell in love with him. No, it was more like she was afraid that he's going to die. And because he kept doing that.
You're gonna get gunned down in front of that barn one of these
And that's why
days, John
she's
Marston.
that's why she says, "I'm not going to bury you again, John Marston."
If you ever sat around the camp and listening to the camp guys talk to each other, there was a lot of foreshadowing moments. Like there was a moment where you could go listen to Javier and John Marston talk to each other. It's like, and he goes, they talk about how Javier was, from Mexico and how he couldn't go back, but maybe he'd go back one day. And then John Marston goes, maybe I'd like to go visit Mexico to see what it's like. And then it was like, maybe in a decade or so you can, and it's like, maybe sometime, maybe like 10 years from now you'd go down there and see what it's like in Mexico.
Yeah, come visit me down
and
there.
like a decade later, he goes down to Mexico after Javier.
Yeah, it fucking straight up murders him.
Mexico was a great part in that game.
Yeah, it is.
That was
Viva la
fucking good.
revolucion! As he's tapping the girl. On the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking everybody's wearing ponchos and sombreros.
Back when. Yep.
That's good stuff.
Yep. Thank you, Rockstar, for that huge sombrero that you put on Javier.
Yeah. Thank God for that.
But yeah, and then the second part of the prologue ends with after John, having built the house, gets Abigail and Jack back, and finally finds out where Micah is due to Sadie Adler being a bounty
huge
hunter.
bank loan for
which ended up only being like $400.
I could have made that.
I
back
was
in
like,
no time.
What?
I'd just go rob a few trains and then go pay it off.
Well, I was going to say, this is 1908, Caleb. And then I was like, we have thousands of dollars in this game.
Yeah, that's why I was like, his big debt was like that much, and he was getting back like $70 per like
for permission with Sadie Adler.
It was like
one of the
Just fucking pay in cash.
Like the first time,
and then
the
he
first
gets
time
like
she paid the bank for you
$20,000 in fucking gold and bonds
at the very end.
Yeah, at the end.
$20,000.
So it's like, so he's fucking rich now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's probably a lot more rich than Mr. Getty was, the guy who owned that ranch.
So basically, the thing that makes me angry is that like near the end of the game, your Dutch has saved up that much money, which is the money that
you would have been
get.
able to go to Tahiti and live like a
not
king.
Just go to Tahiti, but their idea of starting their own town is entirely possible for the 14 people that they have,
especially because
to build a $400 house each, which all have like 4 rooms and whatever that he builds, and then the barn was only like what, an $80 add-on to his loan. So it's like, what the fuck? You can't build a fucking like little village out of the $20,000 you have.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially because, like, this is back in the days where, maybe it was a little before this, but it was like the idea of the government was like, hey, we're going to build these huge fucking railroads to get to certain areas. Like, it was the whole, if you build it, they will come thing. Like, if you start a little town, we're going to build our fucking railroad to your town. Like, it's going to happen. And then the town becomes huge. And that's how civilization truly spread, was the transportation of the railroad. Allowing people to get goods from one area to another, and the government was like, fuck it, where do you want us to go? Like, we're going to go to California because that's where all the gold is, but anywhere in between, what do you guys want?
Yeah.
So yeah, like starting a town, not a huge deal.
I mean, buying that huge plot of land cost him like $400, and then the house and barn together was like maybe another $200. So he spent $600 for a huge plot of land with a house and a barn and like whatever else he spent for the farm animals. They had enough to make their own little town.
Yeah, the money is kind of unrealistic in the game. I think the game wouldn't be that fun though if it wasn't.
So $400 in 1900 would be just shy of $12,000 a day.
So that's still pretty fucking cheap.
What ripe bullshit is them buying a house and building a house for $400 when a house of that same size, but today's standards, is going to be like $200-something-thousand to buy right now.
Oh, I thought you said $12,000.
No, close to $12,000, but a house of similar proportions, but nowadays standards.
Oh yeah, it'd be way more.
$200,000 or more.
It's because we have a thing called property value, which didn't exist back then, so everything was way cheaper.
We also have inflation. Thanks, Obama.
I calculated the inflation just barely.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah,
the other half is property value.
God, dude.
Anyway, so after they buy the house and everything, and they go find Micah and they gun him down for the like huge climax of the game.
It's epic. It's an amazing scene.
And then fucking Dutch is there for some reason. And then
he was there. I don't know why Dutch was there. I think he was thinking about maybe running with Micah again. But at the end of it,
he was running with Micah again.
Yeah,
that was the point. Is that they were working together.
But then he guns Micah down.
He guns him down because of John and the memory of Arthur. I think is the reason. But then he just walks away again, like he did at the fucking ending with Arthur, and that's what pissed me off. There is no fucking reason that Dutch should have been there. He should have just fucking left and then just not been in the rest of the game. There was no reason for him to be back with Micah at all, especially with like
foreshadowing for when John Marston goes to kill Dutch.
Yeah, chase me, John Marston, chase me.
It's just
that's what he says when he rides away.
It's like he hasn't heard anything of Dutch, and he shouldn't have heard anything about Dutch until like he starts.
The funny thing is Dutch starts to run with a gang with Indians again. So in the next game,
yeah. And he goes like into Mexico and shit. Yeah, and it's
So you kill the fuck out of Micah, and
Micah almost has Arthur Morgan's powers though, because when you have that first shootout with Micah,
he's
and you poke out the
crazy.
shield,
Yeah.
he he has the same skill as Arthur Morgan.
I have
at that
no
point.
idea how the fuck Charles lived though. By the way,
with him getting gunned down, coming up. Yeah.
If you want to bring that in,
Charles
getting
got
gut
fucking
stabbed with a knife
It's way worse.
Is really bad.
I know.
Sadie
Like,
should have been
There's no
dead.
real reason that Sadie should have lived either, but both of them got fucking majorly injured in basically the same place.
Sadie was shot and stabbed, wasn't
and,
she?
and Sadie made it all the way up the mountain to just to get there.
Yeah,
But
getting-
you saw that the shirtless brawl that Charles had in Saint Denis in the.
I know. He's
That
fucking
dude's a
huge.
beast.
Yeah,
he's
he's a fucking
He's
monster.
way bigger than I thought he was because, like, the baggy clothes he always wore,
Yeah,
the
no, yeah,
puffy
he is
clothes. He's
a huge
fucking
guy.
massive.
Mandingo!
Because I'm pretty sure he's had like an Indian mother and a black father, and he just turned into this beast of a guy.
Yeah. The ultimate crossbreed, the Charles Xavier.
Charles Smith.
Charles Smith, sorry, not Xavier. But yeah, you kill him, and this is a great scene in the game though. Like, it's this huge lead up. You're coming up this mountain. The music is getting amazing. You're gunning all these people down.
Again,
you get up
just
there.
a multitude of people. How do they pay for them all?
Yeah, I don't know. You kill him off, and then you kind of go back down. You find the Blackwater stash. Micah used it, or you use the stash from Micah. He had it, and then you kind of pay off the bank loan.
You pay off your bank loan and just have a pocket full of cash for the rest of the game.
Yeah, you marry your wife
for the open world stuff you want to do.
Start your new game or start your new life with like Jack and Uncle, and then Charles and Sadie. The credits kind of show what
we
they
forgot
do.
the scene where Uncle's getting cooked by the Skinners.
Oh, that was pretty good. Uncle like gets like, you remember in the first game he was just like this retarded old man. Basically, he was like, his brain was just mush.
The lumbago got him.
Yeah, the lumbago. They took his soul out. They cooked the soul out of his body. It's like the lobster, you know.
I got the lumbago.
Yeah, the fucking. Yeah, we get some stuff with him. The game ends with the Pinkertons, the replacement Pinkertons, finding. What did they find? It was like. They follow the trail. Oh, I guess they follow the trail back to John's ranch, like
You
the
know
trail
what
of
lumbago
death.
is?
What is that?
I'm just asking. Do you guys know?
Is it fake?
No, it's not fake.
What is it?
It's low back pain. That's what. That's all it is.
That's funny. So it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's kind of where the game ends. They follow the trail back to John's cabin, and that's where it kicks off the events of Red Dead Redemption. And that is the story outline for Red Dead Redemption 2. There's a lot of story in this game, I would say. For what it is, I think there's a lot of great side character development. I love the stuff with the Braithwaites and the Greys. I love the stranger missions that you come across. You find like a random traveling circus, and you have to like go rescue their lions and their
That's more gameplay.
their tigers.
than story.
No.
There's story there.
Okay, so comparing.
And then they're
There's
like,
only one game I've played that made side missions feel epic, and that's The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
This game it's very much open world style side missions, and every time I'm fucking trying to get to a place, there always has to be a little person calling out from the side of the road to get me to fucking stop, and that shit gets annoying.
I think this game's side missions are better than The Witcher 3's.
No, there's no way.
I do. I
Nope.
think they have more detail. I think the characters are better done.
There was a
No,
part
they're
where
not.
I was playing a side mission in The Witcher 3, and I thought I was playing a main mission, but I wasn't.
That's true. That's a good point. Skyrim does that too, but that's only because Skyrim's main story is meh. So
Well, you thought you were doing the main story when you were doing a DLC, which is kind of like a separate main
it's
story.
kind of retardedly titled too. The Dragonborn. Hello. What the fuck? But beside that, I loved the side missions in this game. I thought the strangers and freaks were great. There was the. Did you guys find the professor guy who was building the robot that came to life?
the Marco Dragic or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
you help this guy create this fucking robot, and then you Like, it comes to life and it takes like 3 or 4 steps and then it collapses and dies. And then if you go and like leave for a couple days and come back into his lab, you'll just find like a ton of blood on the ground and the machine is gone. And so, like, you're not sure if the robot came to life and killed him or if somebody killed him and took his invention. There's another great one where you help this guy, like, create the electric chair. And he's like, this is the humane way to kill. And he's, like, cooking this fucking dude. And, like, he won't die. He won't die. And then the guy, like, accidentally touches one of the things and the current runs through his body. And then he just fucking dies. And then everyone gets up and leaves, like... The circus one where Arthur's supposed to go out, Arthur or John, depending on who you're playing as. He's supposed to go out and find like their circus animals, and he's like, "Oh, go find the leopard," and it's like a dog painted like a leopard. And then it's like, "Go find our this and that," and then like you find another one. He's like, "Go find our lion," and then you go into this town, and everyone's like freaking out. They're like, "There's a fucking lion here," and he's like, "Oh, it's nothing but a dog." And then, like, you're going around investigating, you start hearing the lion roaring and shit. And then you go outside, and the lion just fucking rips this dude apart and, like, starts charging you. And you have to kill him. And he goes back, and he's like, "Why the fuck didn't you tell me it was a real lion?" You're like, "We did, you know." He's like, "Yeah, but the last one was a painted dog." He's like, "I killed a man." Like, I don't know. I thought the side quests and, like, the world... and the little stories that the side quest guys had, I thought it was all great. I think the main story is pretty solid overall. Personally, I don't know what I would change necessarily, other than the Guarma part. It kind of felt sort of helter-skelter, and really...
The pacing was off for me in some places for the story.
Yeah, and like in the beginning of the game, you're playing to just mess around and like study and kill animals and like pluck them and shit.
Yeah.
And then the story really starts to pick up, I think, at the end of Chapter 3, where you storm the house and get Jack back. Like, that's when it's like, oh, shit, it's turning into, like, something awesome, you know? And then from then on, it just keeps getting awesome. Yeah, I like the story a lot in this game. I can see why it resonates with a lot of people. I can see why people love it as much as they do. And I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Okay. What would you give it?
I think I'm gonna give the story. Fuck, I'm teetering between a 9 and a 10. I'm not sure what I want to do.
Just go with what your heart says. Just do it.
What my heart says. Looking at you, Craig.
Just go on.
Come on now, boy. Influence you.
I think I'll give it a 9.
Okay.
A solid 9. And the big reason why is I think the game should have ended with Arthur Morgan dying. I think it was kind of a drag going from that to the boring first epilogue. And then the second epilogue was great, but like, I don't know. There was something final about that, you know, like, and it almost, like Craig said, it almost feels overshadowed by the epilogue. It starts out very slow and very boring, and I think the epilogue builds itself up to something very powerful and a very great and amazing ending in itself, but it kind of takes away from some of what the entire game was, which was Arthur Morgan's story. And I don't like how they shoehorned fucking John Marston in there at every goddamn opportunity. And you could say, oh, well, he was in the gang, but yeah, you're not like broing out with Javier nearly as much as you are with John Marston. So it felt like the game lived in the shadow.
And how rude of John Marston not to mention Arthur Morgan once on his hunt for Bill Williams.
Exactly, yeah, not a fucking mention. And it almost felt like they shoehorned the original game in a little too much for this game, and I think it kind of.
Yeah,
it kind of messes with it a little bit. Yeah, and the John being there all the time made it kind of heavy-handed. And that's the only real problem I had with the story. And then some of the pacing, like the Guarma thing, like it felt like the game just fucking derailed. Like the shipwreck was the literal game itself, like wrecking and just like some fucking weird thing coming up that ended up being awesome because you manned a cannon at the end. And it was cool, but it was like, this doesn't really go anywhere for us other than Dutch is still getting crazy.
Yeah,
you could have done that at home, you know. And maybe it shows us just how fruitless his ploy to get out of the States really is. But I mean, what are the fucking odds that another boat is going to get wrecked? Like, just wait till the seas aren't fucked up. Like, I don't know if it really serves the purpose that they wanted it to serve. Just showing that, like, escape is not an option. It's like, well, we'll just wait for a day when the sea is calm, and
But
we'll
when
escape
they left,
then.
the sea was calm.
That's true, yeah.
And they didn't have a choice. They just jumped in the boat, and the boat went.
That's a good point. But they have all this fucking money. Just get out of there.
They can't. The Pinkertons are everywhere. The only reason you could get on the boat is because Charles sacrificed himself to run away.
Yeah, true. And then he was fine. But yeah,
he's Charles. Of course he's fine.
Yeah, he's a double minority. Like, I can't do nothing to this guy.
Double minority.
Leave him alone.
What would you give the game choice?
Oh, I gave the game.
Yeah. What
story
would you give the game, Craig?
9.
Oh.
Give your lowdown, your reach around.
So, I'm going to give it a 7, and here's why. The pacing is awful for this game, not just because like there's a complete disconnect with the whole Guarma thing, but because the game is incredibly slow and incredibly repetitive and filled with nothing but tutorial missions for basically the first half of the game. And as far as like John being shoehorned in the game twice, the best missions aren't even the ones where like people are shooting at each other. It's the ones that actually develop character, which, by the way, are the only ones that happen with John. Because the only relationship that Arthur actually has with any of the other characters, aside from, like, Dutch and obviously Hosea, is Sadie Adler and John. Those are the only two characters he has any kind of relationship with.
Charles.
Even though, well, Charles...
You have a good relationship with Charles.
But everyone has a good relationship with Charles.
No, but you do some specific missions with Charles that really.
I mean, you do the hunting mission with Charles, but you do a mission. You do a mission.
The Eagle Flies and Rainfalls.
Yeah, but you do a mission with like everyone in the gang. Like even like the random chicks. Like you bring them into town and you do like the other stuff. You have a mission to like get to know each of the members of the gang, but it's meaningless because they don't really. They're not anything. They're not really John's friends or anything, but like John is supposed to be his brother.
John's
and like
brother,
Charles
Dutch
Dutch is like the dude who raised
and
both of them.
He started liking Seamus even against himself.
And it kind of
and then Jose was like another father figure.
Yeah, it's just the
true father figure, I would say.
Like one of my favorite missions was the one where like they had. You know, they were scoping out the Braithwaites and the whatnot, and they were...
Lenny was a good friend, too.
And they went fishing with just Dutch and Hosea, and they were talking about the good old days and stuff like that. And there's a lot of character build in there for both Dutch and Arthur, and even Hosea was in there to, like... add some stuff, and then they all started singing together as they were rowing back. It's like stuff like that was the best part of the game, and it happens so infrequently. Honestly, for most of the game, like this is a 50-hour game, including the epilogue, which is like about 7 hours long, and you don't get any character building at all for Arthur until like these few missions that are just like spread out, which makes Arthur kind of feel like an empty character the entire game. And it just
say that.
Why?
I would say he's.
Why would you not?
I would say he's kind of like Geralt, and Geralt is more of an empty character.
Geralt
actually.
is also supposed to be an emotionless person, and he has way more interactions with people than Arthur does.
Yeah, but Arthur has more of a character arc than Geralt does, I would say, and that's the thing. And that's
Arthur's character arc happens when he finds out he has a terminal disease. And he immediately turns around to be a good guy, even when he already was.
Right, but if we're going to compare
he's
it
like
to...
the Robin Hood character, and he's like, "Oh, I need redemption," and then he's just like, "That's." It's like, what is it that you have to reflect on? Every single mission that he's done in the game that they show you is always something that's supposed to be like a good thing. Like he's only killing people when he gets shot at. He's only doing something to go rescue someone. He's only doing it to save the gang. He's only doing whatever. Like they're showing nothingness. There's no real redemption in there, especially when like you're supposed to be playing the game with like good honor. That's what it's expecting you to do, is play as a good, honorable character.
Well,
and then they toss in the bullshit of like the Strauss missions, which you don't even have to complete, by the way. with like that one family that you keep encountering that means nothing. It's like, oh, this is the thing that's supposed to show that Arthur's a bad guy, when he's doing it without knowing that Strauss is actually manipulating people into taking the loans, and he was basically using Arthur as muzzle
I think that
without him knowing until like he finds out, and then he throws Strauss out. There's no real evil in Arthur. There's no real redemption. And that's why it's like ridiculous for that to be the thing. He's like constantly running into this family that gave him tuberculosis that's supposed to be his big turning point, when it's fucking meaningless because he didn't know what was happening. He thought these people were fucking stupid, borrowed money without being able to pay it back, and was trying to get the money back because they owed him. That's all he knew, and that's all he was trying to do.
That is what happened, but Strauss was like giving him a horrible interest rate.
Yeah, and they thought he was evil, and it was supposed to show that he was evil, and when he had the tuberculosis dreams, he kept showing himself like the evil that he had done. It was always really reflecting back to that fucking family that you always run into.
Well, and he didn't ruin...
And it's stupid. He didn't ruin them because he's evil. Which is basically what it was trying to tell you with that whole arc.
No, but you
don't even have to finish it with the Strauss missions, because you don't have to fucking do them after a certain point.
It's not telling you that you ruined their lives because you're evil. It's he ruined their lives doing what he always does. Just doing what he's told, going and getting money.
Arthur Morgan's still
missions.
an outlaw. He's still killing people.
And that's his outlaw ways.
He's still killing people, but like the most of the missions that he's doing, he's only doing it as like a retaliation because someone else attacked
but
him.
This is one where he did it because someone told him he needed to.
He's still a bad guy, but he's not fucking evil.
And
that's the fucking point.
And he sees what his actions actually cause, and that's the only time
and
that
he only does
that
when he has fucking tuberculosis. He doesn't fucking reflect on it at all. He
doesn't
think
he does.
He doesn't think, oh, maybe this is bad. Like the only thing that he says before he has tuberculosis is maybe our way of life is coming to an end. Maybe people don't want us around no more.
The part,
it's like obviously people don't want fucking bandits around anymore.
There's the part in Saint Denis where he runs into the wife, and she's a whore now, and he's like,
it's not Saint Denis. It's one of the other towns. Yeah.
Oh, and he realizes that, wow, this is what it's come to because of me beating her husband up, which ended up killing him, although he was pretty sick and was going to die anyway.
Yeah, he's going to die anyway, so it's also meaningless.
He certainly advanced
but
that.
He took all the money they had for them to go anywhere.
Yeah, and that's like the one time that he gets to truly see what his actions have done.
And that's another stupid thing. He took their money, but it was money that they were going to use for something, but they never did. So it's like money that they never actually had. It was money that they were borrowing from him in the first place.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess
that makes no fucking sense.
The breadwinner in these days would have been the husband that he.
Yeah, but if it was money that they had borrowed and they never used it for its intended purpose, then what the fuck money was it? It was nothing money. It wasn't money to take from them. It was the money that he had already.
I think what it was is they borrowed money and then he took whatever they happened to have left. I don't know if it was even.
They said that they bought the house. That's what it was. They didn't take the house. They just took the money. They could have sold the house.
I think that's what they did do because they were moving. And then he took that money that they were going to use to go somewhere else to live
Then it was still money that they didn't have in the first place. So either way...
Your argument makes no sense.
He's saying that Arthur shouldn't feel bad because these people are dumb.
Well, he's saying it's nothing money, but it was money that they used to settle that.
It was money that they borrowed from Strauss in the first place that he's getting back, but that also would have been their money anyway because the dude was dying.
Well, they sold the house. That's what they did.
Yeah, he was getting money and the interest back, and the interest rate, I think, is what's supposed to... like what really
and
led
they were
going
to use that money to go find somewhere else to live and start a new life, but he took all the money they had left from selling it, and then that's why she had to go be a whore in Ansburg.
There's other options, but also at the same time, like you don't have to complete the Strauss missions, so you don't even have to find out that's what's happening.
Yeah.
No, you still find her as a whore. That you
well,
have
you still
to do.
find her as a whore, yeah, but
you don't have to do anything.
But you
other
don't
than
have to find out that Strauss was actually being the evil dude, like manipulating these people. So, like, Arthur has no reason to be like, oh, these people like be so fixated on this fucking family.
No, but him beating up the guy and taking their money still affected him regardless.
Yeah, and he was in denial.
But the
to do
dude
that.
still had tuberculosis, so either way, it's like, well, his redemption came from having the tuberculosis, but also he's fixated on this family for no reason.
No,
like,
I don't think it's for
Because
no
he
reason.
knows he destroyed him by
He
taking the
knows
money.
he does, but he doesn't want to admit it. And then when he finally
could still
comes
say
around
no
to
and tell
that,
Strauss, no, I'm not going to go collect that money. It's up to him as a person.
because in the beginning he's like, well, it's not my fault. The guy owed money. And he's like, well, he was clearly sick. He was going to die anyway. And Arthur was, using these as justifications for his actions. And then he saw the reality of it. And that's part of his redemption for me. And I know it's weird to put it in a side quest, but
tuberculosis is highly contagious, so how the fuck didn't his family have it when Arthur got it?
Tuberculosis is also a disease that doesn't have to manifest right away, and sometimes people can actually just have it but then never show symptoms.
Yeah,
it's
but
when
his-
your body, it starts
Both
to,
members of his family, like,
but
really?
it's when you're subjected to harsh conditions and when your body's starting to get run down and you don't have as much of immunity to it. That's when it will manifest and start to get worse.
yeah.
If you want to go look up tuberculosis.
Well, Craig, any more justifications for your lackluster story score?
Well,
It
just
didn't resonate for you?
yeah, it just didn't. There was like way too much in between the moments that mattered for character.
There were a
stuff.
shitload of missions in this game.
There were
that's
a
for damn
fuckload
sure.
of missions. They're like, there's some really cool ones, like when you're on the one boat, like doing the poker heist, and like all the big heist missions are fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Then you got like the burning the tobacco field, the like shooting dudes like from the hot air balloon. There's some cool missions. But, like, the actual things that matter for, like, the characters and the story, like, there's too much distance between...
Too much time between.
Yeah, too much time between, and, like, they still want you to explore. Like, it's
Yeah.
like,
It's a hard thing to pace a game like that, and that's why a lot of the... I don't know, a lot of the Final Fantasies and a lot of RPGs, they almost do better when it's more streamlined. When, like, the strongest part of Final Fantasy 15 is when... It's no longer the open world. It's just, here's the story. You go through this. You're on rails.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's
the
fine
opposite
to have
of-
the open world, because, like, that's one thing that I liked about Red Dead. Like, Red Dead is like a 20-hour game. It's a 20-hour game. You still have the open world to go find and do shit, like, whatever you want. But this one is, like, 40, 50 hours long, and it's like, oh, well, here's nothing but a repetitive mess until, like, the end. I mean, because like every single chapter happens the same way. Like you start out, and then you have like the big mission halfway through, and then you have the like start looking for the kind of like the next area you're gonna go to. Then you do the big fucking heist thing that makes so you're in trouble in that area.
The Fallout,
and then you have the immediately like you have to go to that area that you already scouted out.
Yeah,
Like
5-minute ride, states away.
And then that's like every chapter. It's like it feels the same. Like it maybe that there's cool different missions, but like there's no change in the formula or the story for each of the chapters. Like even the end ones, like it's basically the same thing. And then and then the last chapter is really the only one that has any difference. Where like you have the going to help out the Indians, where you like really see Dutch like freak the fuck out, going to rescue John, like all that shit. Like it just feels like they saved all the stuff for the end, and they just like padded the rest of the game out.
Yeah, I would say the first 3 chapters, but that was because I was trying to do the compendium all the way in the first chapter, so it took me like 30, 40 hours to get to
the first
chapter.
3 chapters is still half of the game. Like that's
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, what about you, Cameron? What's your
I'm going to
overall
give it an
thoughts?
8.
All right. Right in between, huh?
Well, that's what I decided to give it this whole time. But pacing, Guarma, several issues that we've discussed. So yeah, I'm just going to give that an 8.
All right, well, gameplay. As we discussed earlier, it's an open-world sandbox game. You get to do a lot of mini-games. We've got poker, we've got blackjack, we've got five-finger fillet. What was the other? Oh, dominoes. Fuck, man, I haven't played dominoes in a long
darts
time.
too, right?
There's darts, yeah. I never played darts, though. I never found it. But it does exist. Plenty of little mini-games, tons of side quests, tons of side content. You can rob stagecoaches, turn those bad boys in. You can buy thousands of pieces of clothes in this game. You can customize the fuck out of your character, get some pretty snazzy looking shit lined up. You can buy a bunch of weapons, customize those weapons, upgrade them, make them look fancy. Your horse, it's like Grand Theft Auto has the thing where you get to soup up your car. Well, you get to soup up your horse in Red Dead Redemption
Fuck
2.
yeah, you do. Mohawk and braided tail.
Yeah, you can go nuts.
The best saddle, the best stirrups, and all these other things that affect how your horse will handle, and of course bonding with your horse, and then selecting the horse for your circumstances, what you're going to do. I still think Turcoman is slightly better than the Arabian just because of its increased health and its ability to not be spooked by firefights, but then the Arabian's handling and acceleration and speed are just insane.
I never got that into that kind of stuff.
Dude, that was part of what I loved about the game.
Kim loved the horse shit.
No, I don't love horse shit, even though it's shot all the time.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Just fucking relentlessly, just in the middle of a cutscene, just fucking drops
But
it.
then guns as well, getting the best guns. I want to find all the rare guns at some point.
Yeah, one of the things that was kind of annoying is like the guns were locked behind story content, and at first I was like, oh, I don't really care about that, but then it was like, ooh, I want to play around with these guns, but you almost couldn't do it until the very end of the game on some of them.
You don't get everything unlocked until like the end of chapter 5, I think. It's like the middle or the end of chapter 5 is when everything gets unlocked.
Yeah, one of the biggest complaints I had heard on gameplay, and it makes me angry that people bitch about this, is like the realism part. I don't really care about that in this game.
I
like,
never had an issue where realism was in the way.
Yeah, like some people are like, "Oh, you have to feed them, you have to sleep," and I'm like, "Not really. I mean, it affects your stats."
All you have to do is when you go to a stable, just stock up on a whole bunch of shit and be on your way. You don't have to worry about it for a large portion of the game.
Yeah, I cooked and
camped. The only real thing of realism that kind of made me irritated was having to like put the skins like on the back of your horse instead of just like having the phantom pouch.
I have a perfect deer skin on the rump of my horse that I cannot figure out how to sell.
What do you mean?
It's on the back of my horse. I go to the back of my horse. I can't pick it up. I can't go, and it doesn't give me the option to pick it up.
Technically in your inventory, or is it?
But
in the
it's in the horse's inventory. And so I can't. I go to the back of the horse. I get the prompt to pick it up like a deer, like you would pick up a deer. Does not happen. I can't actually pick it up. When I take the whole fucking saddle off the horse, the skin disappears with the saddle. When I put the saddle back on the horse, the skin comes back. I go to the horse inventory. I can drop it from the inventory, get rid of it from my horse's inventory, and it'll get rid of it. But then I go up to sell it to someone. It's not in my personal inventory, so I can't sell it, and I can't take it off the back of the horse. It's just stuck.
I think you can give it to a trapper if it's on your horse, because I did that shit with the legendary bear stuff, like when you kill him in the beginning, and I couldn't figure out how to give it to him, and it just like he just took it like from the horse, I think, because I didn't have it like in my own personal inventory.
But it's stuck to my horse, and I cannot remove it unless I go
try
into
going to a
trapper
and see if that helps.
If I go in my inventory and throw it away, it's gone. It's not on my horse anymore. But yeah, for some reason I can't get rid of it.
Yeah,
can't sell it.
Plenty of strangers and freaks missions, random people you'll encounter, and then they'll have you do little tasks.
How do you guys feel about the gunplay?
I thought it was pretty good. I liked how you had the deteriorating weaponry, and you had to kind of really upgrade your weapons to make them suitable to each different scenario.
I wasn't too much of a fan of the weapon deterioration, but I understand it.
I didn't really care for the weapons at all, really, because I mean the weapon deterioration thing I didn't really care about, because like you can easily fix that.
You have to play to the weapon's strengths, like with the shotguns and stuff, especially with the semi-auto shotgun. If you're not hip firing that shotgun, you're not playing right. Dude, that thing, if you come around a corner, go in a building, and just fucking unload, it's so much fun.
Dude.
And same thing with the dual pistols.
Robbing
if you're not
that train
hit-firing,
near the end of the game with
if you're
the
not hit-firing,
shotgun.
just da-da-da-da-da.
First person mode on that part was amazing.
Oh, I know.
Holy shit.
I did the same thing. First person mode, train, shotgun.
Fucking melting faces off.
No one even shot me.
I enjoyed
just wrecked.
for the most part. I hate how when you're aiming down the sights, it's still hard to keep the gun fucking still, especially when you're tired and the gun just kind of sways in a little circle and you're trying to fucking hit the guy and you don't want to use any more of your dead eye because you're running low, and that gets kind of annoying. But if you play to each gun's strength, the gunplay is actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I liked the gunplay a lot in the game. I didn't really have any problems with that. The missions are set up in a way.
The shotgun gunplay is what kept me coming back.
Yeah, the missions are set up in a way where there's a medal system based on certain criteria that you complete in the mission. Like, you'll find a dude hog-tied, and you'll have to like untie him first, or you can shoot him when he's tied to a tree, shoot the rope off.
Yeah, there's a bunch of random stuff like that.
A bunch of random stuff, so it gives the game, the missions, replayability as far as like trying to 100% the missions themselves, which is kind of a cool thing. The fishing, lots of great fishing to be had. 13 legendary fish, caught them all. Got every one of them, turned them in. I thought the fishing was awesome in this game. I'm glad they added it. It's a thing now, fishing
I only
games.
ate all the fish I caught, so if I caught a legendary fish, I ate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, well. I enjoyed the side quests a ton. I thought this game had tons and tons of things to offer, and I feel like I've only scraped the surface of it. I have done all of the Strangers missions. I don't know about the Freaks, but I'm pretty sure I did all the Strangers, unless there's like certain ones that happen at certain times. You get camp requests in this game, so like people around camp will just ask you for certain items, and you can find those like in houses and other certain areas. There's a shitload of collectibles. Like the cigarette cards and a couple other things. There's a lot of things to do in this game. And the online I thought was fine for what I played. I just did the tutorial. I don't really have much of an opinion on the gameplay for that yet.
It's basically the same. It just has its own little story mode, and you guys ride around and do shit, but you have like the worst shit possible starting out, obviously.
Yeah. So I mean, that's fine and all. I liked I don't know. I think this game's pretty fucking fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I liked the legendary hunts, the legendary fishing, the side missions, the fucking being able to just go take a bath and have some chick bathe you. Like, there's a lot of shit in this game. Go watch like old movies. You can see like some like old motion pictures in the cinema there, and there's just a ton of stuff to do in the game. So personally, I would give the gameplay a fucking 10. So I don't have any problems with it. There's some annoyances when it comes to like the game taking your guns away for certain missions, but I sort of respect why they would do it on some of those missions. I like the stealth missions in the game, which is rare because usually stealth missions piss me off, but you have the weapons to be stealthy in this, so it's not a big deal. Overall, I think the gameplay is probably one of the strongest points for the game. So, what do you think, Craig? It's your dissenting opinion.
Gameplay is fine. I had quite a few problems with certain things. Like, I ran into quite a few glitches. For instance, I had a couple glitches where my guns wouldn't shoot at all.
That's a bad glitch to have.
Yeah, there was that water rafting one I told you about when you're on the raft, like going down the river, trying to, I can't remember for which part, but where you're getting shot at like fucking crazy, and I couldn't shoot. It wouldn't let me defend myself, so I died like 3 times in that mission. It would not let me pass because I couldn't shoot. And then
can't shoot here.
There's other stuff with like horses. Like, my horses would like stop if I ran into like a bush, but like then they would jump over like way higher than they should have been able to over like a little tiny pebble that was like in the road. So it's just like random shit like
did
that.
you run into anything with the horses on accident?
Yeah, and then you get fucking flung like 20 feet forward.
Yeah, I died multiple
I
times.
never
from it.
hit something with my horse that made me fight my horse.
Oh wow!
My
Never, not
horse,
once.
my horse fucking tripped over. It was like something tiny. I think it was like this tiny ass rock. Like, you know how they just have like the big ones that are just there, but they're not like boulders or anything.
Yeah.
My horse tripped over one of those. I fucking flew off a cliff.
I've never had that problem. That's
Bullshit!
probably because I fucking
It was
pay attention-
bullshit.
Because I fucking pay attention to where I'm riding. Another secret is if you have to run through woods or something on your horse going as fast as you can, if you see yourself going through a copse of trees and you don't want to hit any of them, just let go of your left stick while still galloping and your horse will navigate through them for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of autopilot functions. There's another great one when you're on a trail. If you hold the cinematic camera, it'll just follow the trail, and you'll get to see the beauty of the game, which is awesome.
The first part of the game forces you to observe the beauty of the game for like the first
quite
hour
a
for
few
the first
parts
2 hours.
of the game.
I
force
barely
you to,
used. I loved
do that.
I loved the map and the world so much that I barely fast traveled. I only fast traveled like twice.
I
didn't know you
didn't
could
fast travel
What,
at all.
when did it give you fast traveling?
Your camp.
I don't know at which point, because I only discovered it by the time that I got to the old Civil War
I only
house.
discovered it by the pro epilogue.
Yeah, I found out about it like
You
at
need
the
it if you're going to do all the
old
stuff
war
and
house.
clean up for Epilogue. It's
at the
huge.
house. But
I will give gameplay a 9. Personally, since he's taking forever to say what he's going to give it.
I'm still talking. We're still talking about it. We got to talk about the game here.
We just did.
Well, you
No,
can
like-
you can keep talking,
It's
Craig.
like, okay, there's like a fucking part in the game where you're going to like with these cops to find out what happened to these bodies, right? And you're riding on the carriage, and the dude has the reins, so you're not in control. So you're not in control of the speed, and it just fucking makes you watch for 5 fucking minutes without anyone saying a goddamn word as they just go. As you just watch it in cinematic camera for 5 fucking minutes as he just goes from one side of the map to the other to find these fucking bodies. That's ridiculous. And it happens multiple times.
It's a long game. For
The
sure.
only
Yeah.
time where they start shortening that shit is like at the end of the game, where they're like, you know what? Maybe this ride could take like half as long, or maybe it's like, oh, maybe we could just, show it in like 3 little short cuts. But they don't do that in the rest of the game. They're like, you know what? Let's watch him ride from one half of the map to the other half, and let's make it, 10 minutes long. Let's not have anything happen. Just like listen to the song as he's riding about, because it's got to be as cinematic as fucking possible.
Yeah, with the songs.
And then it's just, and then there's like the gameplay with the guns. Like there's not any. I mean, you can upgrade them, and there's different kinds of ammo, but there's no customization at all, really, other than like cosmetic stuff. Because you get one like minor upgrade for each of the guns, for like the rifling or the iron sights and whatever, and then that's basically it. That's just like the gun stuff right there. And then you're locked. There's like a wall behind for like the shit that for the guns. Like you have to get to a certain point of the game to get all the guns. And I did one of those stranger missions, or not one of the stranger missions, one of the side things where you like suck the poison out of this dude's leg, and he's like, you know what, I'll give you a free gun. And then I start the next mission, and it's like the one where they give you the fucking rifle, and it takes away my free gun because it gave me the rifle for free anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
It's fucking bullshit. Dude, you said free, and the free gun wouldn't give me the any of the locked weapons because they're locked behind story content
at least it's not a paywall.
for no reason. I mean, it might as well be. God,
it's not.
You might as well be able
close.
to pay to unlock them 20 fucking hours early. But anyway, it's just like the game just feels too long with the gameplay stuff. Like there's a lot to do, which is cool, but it just didn't really capture me that well. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
God damn, Craig.
Dude, you didn't have anywhere near the amount of glitches
I wonder
encountered.
how many glitches you have are because you're not paying attention versus actual
No,
glitches.
I did see some Craig glitches. My glitches were always fun, except for when the game froze. That was not fun.
Only one glitch I had was when, in the epilogue, we were sneaking up behind the Skinner's wagon, the one that they were dragging the dead dude behind it, and we stealth kill that one dude, and then Charles is sneaking forward, and he tries to sneak through the wagon, but he can't because it's a wagon. So he's stuck there walking in place into the wagon, and he can't get to, and I try to go to the next part. He's like, "Where are you going? Don't go don't go too far from me." And I couldn't start the next sequence without him, so I had to run back and watch him just fucking walking into the wagon, not going anywhere, and I had to run at him and like use my character to push him to the side, and he finally got out from behind the wagon, but he tried to take a left and go through the wagon again and got fucked, so I kept running into him, pushing into him until I got him past the wagon, and then we continue the story.
Yeah. I had a few glitches where it was like visual glitches where like I would be standing inside my horse for a little cutscene, like all the time.
Oh, that happened once.
I had some sound glitches happen, like when there was a cutscene of people talking, it would just like cut it out immediately.
Huh.
It happened like 2 or 3 times.
All right, well, the third category for the Nude Clan reviews, game or graphics/design. I think this is one of the best looking games on PS4. It looks really fucking good.
It's a very good game. The music is well thought through. Voice acting is great.
This is the design and the graphics, bro.
You
want to just camera's just going to lay
all this in together.
the next 3 scores down
you guys
right
are
now.
lagging behind, so let's go ahead and finish these 3 last categories. Let's just talk about it.
Well, okay, so quick thing for the graphics then is this is the thing that they focused on the most, no doubt, because they went for like hyper-realism with like the fucking horse balls being like shrinking in the cold, like drooping real low when it's warm. That they had the hair stuff, like you had the beard growing.
Thank God for the beard growth.
And the intervals. And then you have like
it's funny, the guys who have trouble growing beard are the most obsessed with Arthur's beard growth.
Like the dude looks better with the fucking longer beard. All right, Cam. The shorter beard doesn't fit Arthur. He needs the long beard.
Medium beard is where I went.
No. That medium beard is for John.
Untouched beard.
Yeah.
Like fucking homeless man.
Then you have the hyper cinematics that the game goes for, to the point where like they'll change the time of day to fit the mood better for cutscenes.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. There was some really pretty stuff, like when you go into like the bogs and there's like a fucking shitload of fog, but you can see the moon super bright. It's like making everything look really cool and interesting. Stuff like that happens.
Yeah, they did an amazing job making this game look great, and the world is very
for
alive.
the hyper realism. There's this clip I found on Reddit where he goes, "I just had Red Dead 2 scar me today," and then this is the clip.
What is it?
So let's let Craig watch it. So it's this guy playing Red Dead 2, and he's riding along on his horse, and Arthur, and he's shooting at a guy who's just gotten off his horse. I think it's a lawman, and the game does what it does sometimes, where you kill a guy, it goes all slow mo,
critical shots,
watches you shoot the guy, and then it usually cuts back to you right afterwards. Well, it cuts back to you, but it's through the other guy's horse, and this gives you this undercarriage look at this horse's just package. It's this fucking ball sack.
Yeah, it looks like the balls like hit the dead guy's shoulders.
Did you ever see the balls on the fucking bull that you have to stop as John? Like,
yeah, it's insane.
Like that thing is nearly touching the fucking ground. Low hanging.
There's some poor rock star dev out there who had to spend time designing horse sacks.
Are you fucking kidding me? They're not poor. They demanded that job.
Yeah, I want to be the ball sack guy.
It's like, I need to design the balls on these animals.
Yeah, dude, it looks amazing. When you walk in the snow, it looks just as good as it did in God of War. When you walk in the bogs, you get your footsteps. Like, people sink. You can feed people to alligators. Like, The sunset is amazing. Like being on top of a mountain, like at night and stuff. Like it looks so fucking good.
Yeah, they really paid attention to minor details, like when, like you said, when you feed people to the alligators, you can see the blood just like start darkening the water and stuff like that at like at a really slow pace. And so they really paid attention to the small details for this game.
And like the characters, there are tons of YouTube videos about like characters that they've created in this game, NPCs, to make the game's world feel more real. And they actually go out and they work for 8 hours, and then they go drinking and they pass out, and then they wake up and then they start their day again. Like it's this cycle, and it goes into the design and it goes into making this world feel extremely real. And that's why I think this world is stronger than The Witcher 3's in that way, because The Witcher 3 is probably the other game that feels the most alive, like actually alive. But I think this one almost does it better, because these people have their lives that are programmed and things that they do each day and like activities they take place in.
To a point. There are things
There are quite a few of them that aren't.
It seems like Arthur Morgan can fucking sneeze in town and have people angry at him, whereas where I watch NPCs do worse shit than I do with my horse, and they just, it's fine. But the second I step out of bounds with my horse, everyone's fucking shooting Arthur Morgan. There's even that mission I was talking about before where this other dude got in my face and started getting angry at me, and this NPC I was escorting shot the fucking dude, shot him. He killed him, and the law came for me.
Yeah, it's because you were near the dead body. That's all it was, and that's really annoying.
The witnesses watched this kid wearing a fucking turtle poncho shoot this guy.
Oh man, there was a bad one where I like told the guy I was going to rescue him because he was dying, and I put him on the back of my horse, and I went into the town, and it was like a 5-minute ride. And I turned the corner too sharp, and I clobbered him on the corner of the building, and the law was after me. And it was Saint Denis after I was wanted in Saint Denis. So they were blasting me, and I was like, I was just trying to help, and I accidentally killed him. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, dude. Like,
God.
Did you ever try to go like outside the boundaries while you were still Arthur? Like, go back to Blackwater in that area?
Oh, it's awful.
You fucking step a toe over that thing, and you get like magically sniped by dudes who are like 10 miles away. There's instantly lawmen on you.
It's hard.
Like, you cannot go into that area at all.
I tried to go get some of the legendary fish.
It's there, but fuck you.
I wanted to do everything as Arthur and just clean up the rest as John, but I couldn't get past Blackwater because it was just so volatile. I was just dead. Even when I tried to I fucking ran through there and I was hauling as much ass as I could. No escape. You can't get out.
Did you ever try that camp game?
No, I never did.
It's brutal, dude. They were not kidding about don't ever go back there.
Yeah, you can't. It's like physically impossible. You can't survive more than like a minute.
Yeah. I think the world looks really great, and I think there's a lot of stuff in the world to go explore too. There's a lot of like hidden things, collectibles, and just like the majesty of this game and the majesty of the world that they've created. I mean, shit, I was like trying to scope out some animals flying away, and I saw a fucking eagle pick up a fox and just take off in the air with
like
it.
That. It's awesome.
It's crazy. Like the design, it's amazing what they've done with this game. It's something that Final Fantasy 15 claimed to have, but this game does it a million times better.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen in 15.
Yeah, nothing like that. It's like there's like staged events where animals get on the road and get in your way, but it happens every time you drive by that certain plot of land, so it gets old. Like this game, it's very alive, and the graphics and the design and the character models look fucking great. I would have to give it a 10. I don't think there's a single problem with the graphics or the design in this game. There are a couple glitches here or there that happen. But I don't really fault them for that. It's a huge fucking world they've created.
I didn't have any visual glitches, and I also give it a 10.
I am also going to give it a 10.
All right, it's a good looking game. Like especially the scale and the how big this game is. Like with a game like God of War, it's a little more. It's a bit. God of War is another
tighter knit place where it has separate areas, so they can try and make that look as good as possible. But it's like another thing entirely to create like a massive fucking world and then also make it look really good.
Yeah, it's very impressive. It's a different type of impressive.
Because there's not really any loading screens between the areas at all unless you're like fast traveling. So that in of itself is also something else. Like you can walk into a building and not have to load every 2 seconds. You know, it's just one place.
Yeah, it's very, very well done. Next category, sound and music. I think the soundtrack for this game is probably the best soundtrack of last year, and this is one of the awards that Red Dead Redemption 2 won that I think it deserved to win. I fucking love Western soundtracks, like, a lot, and I think this game's is fucking fantastic. I did think it was a little bit cheesy when they had the final track, and I know Cameron was talking about that one, like the fucking the final on the road track thing.
May I stand unshaken?
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of gay, but whatever.
Yeah, that one was like, ooh.
It was a little too on the nose, right? But I mean, there's great stuff riddled in the soundtrack for this game, you know, and it's a lot of it's super atmospheric, but at the same time, it gives you that like westerny feel that you need, and it's this game is a fucking spaghetti western to the core, and I think the soundtrack is one of the biggest things that builds it and sells it for me personally.
There's a song called Ring Dang Do.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, music was good. My only real issue with the sound was that it kept cutting out on me at certain key moments. The voice acting is really good. I didn't have any problems with that, other than maybe Dutch constantly saying that he had a plan, he needed money, and he just needed a little goddamn faith. Other than that, you know, it's great.
You need to show a little goddamn faith in the plan, Arthur. Just a little goddamn faith.
We just need a little goddamn more money.
Oh, you're gonna look at the May I?
Yeah. It's supposed to be copyright. So I mean, I've basically made it impossible for us to
ever make money off of the show.
To ever make money off of a lot of the show. And we can honestly get kicked off of.
If we keep doing it.
Yeah. It's great though. And this one I felt like it was a little campy, but
so this is a song that will turn into Unshaken. So how long into it it'll get before it starts playing the Unshaken.
Yeah.
This is the one that plays during the cutscene where he's just like riding along to the next hideout, right?
It's when he's the one that's Lemoyne. It's when he's returning to the mansion. The first time.
when it taken forever.
Yeah.
It's a good builder.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but also that cutscene takes like way too long.
Well, yeah, it's a long ass.
It was like a 5-minute cutscene of him just writing and then listening to this song. Like, it was like literally about this song. That's like, all it felt like.
No, on another part's like, you know what? I don't memorize the roads back to where I need to go. Like, what if I take a wrong turn here and tried to take a wrong turn?
I wiped out on the horse during this, and I laughed pretty hard.
It's a cutscene.
And unshaken.
And I'm like fucking breaking my back. Yeah, it was a little over the top, but I think overall the soundtrack is fucking great in this game. Like it's so Western, it's so perfect, it's so like Ennio Morricone mode that it's fuck man, it's great. And that was one of the things like with God of War. You guys, I like the soundtrack in God of War, but it wasn't as mind blowing to me as this one. Like it wasn't nearly as epic, and like it didn't have quite the same hits to me. Like it didn't emotionally punch me in the same way, and it did at parts. But I think this soundtrack for Red Dead Redemption 2 totally deserves the best soundtrack in those awards. Game
the
awards.
Only problem I'd ever have with that is that I just don't like games having songs with lyrics.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
It depends on what's going on, and then it's only during silent moments of reflection that the game
it does.
come through.
Yeah, and that's fine, but this game particularly had like a lot of them, a lot of moments where there was
a few reflection moments. I would say 3 times they would do it.
I feel like they should have just paid the money to have this song go on in there. Fucking Good, the Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack.
They had part of it in there, I'm pretty sure.
There's a part that sounds pretty goddamn close.
But I will give sound a 10.
There's a reason why Metallica introduces their concerts with the fucking Western song. It's because it's awesome. I agree. 10 out of 10. The voice acting is fucking great. The music is fucking great. Nothing about the sound has ever bothered me in the game. The guns sound great. The animals sound great. Like, fuck, man. It's a good sounding game.
Yeah, I'll give it a 10 as well.
All right, now arguably the most important and, of course, the second gameplay category for Red Dead Redemption 2, guys, replayability. Have you played the game? Did you play the game after you beat it? Did you try to play the side quests?
I specifically played a little bit afterwards already just because I wanted to try out the other horse I hadn't tried at that point. And then replayability, yeah, I'm pretty sure that does have replayability value to a point. Once you have all the animals, once you've done all the side quests, you can only replay it so much until you've done everything. But
that's a long time, though. I'll tell you that. My 90 hours, I've got like maybe 20% of the compendium done. 30 maybe.
Yeah. There's a lot of game to play, like beyond just the story. There's like the side missions, doing the collectibles, doing the hunts, whatever. But there's not, at least to me, any real reason to replay the story. I just don't feel it. I feel like having done it once is enough. Especially since like some of the need for exploring is kind of curtailed by the fact that you don't need for money at all during the game. Especially since you do the big heist missions, which always give you like hundreds of dollars, and even one that gives you like $3,000, like right from the get-go, basically, like in the middle of chapter 3. So you basically there's no need for money at all in the game, so you don't have to go do the trains or go rob the trains or go drop carriages like at all. There's no real reason.
After that one bank heist where you pull a hefty sum out of it, you have around $3,000 to $4,000 depending on how much you've pulled it up to that point.
Yeah, and if you loot bodies, you got plenty of money and pocket watches and things to fence from that.
Yeah, and then like that one poker mission thing gives you like $750. Like so
the one on the boat.
Yeah,
you get loaded.
Yeah, you get real rich by the end of the game, so you have like no need for money. Like the upgrades for stuff cost nothing, so you're not spending any of that money unless you're spending it on horses.
Yeah,
which
horses
you only
and
need
guns,
like one if you're careful,
and clothes if you're trying to buy all the stuff, which I tried to do.
There's only one moment in the game where I was scared that my Turkomon was going to die, and for some reason the soldiers were fucking aiming for that horse, and that made me scared.
Did you ever lose a mount?
No.
Oh, I did. I had Cubby 3 by the end, I think. Cubby 1 got run over by a train as I was fishing right off the train tracks. Cubby 2 was relentlessly gunned down, and when I was going to go revive Cubby 2, but they killed me.
What horse did you ride the most?
Dude, I don't even fucking know.
You didn't even care?
No, I didn't. I don't know why. I was like, I wanted to care about that, but I was just like...
It's probably John's horse that he rode the most.
Yeah, probably.
Damn it! Like horses, the horses are so important to me.
Your fucking horse gets
I want to go catch
brutally murdered at the end of the game.
And have a Mustang as well. Have one of those around. That'd be a lot of fun. But the Turkomon and the Arabian, 2 best horses in the game.
Yeah, I didn't even fuck with that. Really.
And then you could get into like super rare colors of the horses as well and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, there you go.
Yeah, the end of the game is where like it really opens up for side shit, allowing you to do things like more races and getting more missions for like doing gunslingers, so you can get the rarer guns or rarer versions of the guns. Anyway,
Did you go back in after you beat it?
No. After the epilogue was done, there was no real reason.
I will go back.
When did you finish the epilogue? Month and a half ago.
Yeah, it's time. But yeah.
All right, Craig, what's your score?
For replayability, 7. I think it's a decent score for it. I mean, there is stuff to do, but as far as like the game itself, there's not really anything to repeat. It's mostly like the fact that it has an online and there's trophies and there's a lot of collectibles to go do for 100%ing.
As far as replayability value goes, it's definitely a 10. I will probably not replay it again as much as I'd want to because, it's the nature of how many games we got to play all the time. But it's definitely a 10.
All right. I think I'm going to give it a 9. And the only reason why I didn't give it a perfect 10 for this is I kind of agree. The story is the weakest part in a lot of ways of the game, and to replay the game, you'd have to do that. I will go back, and I have gone back, but it's not a game where like the story is so damn good that I want to replay it for the story, and I think that plays a part in replayability. I think all the gameplay, all the online, all of those elements, those are all there. Mm-hmm. But the story, it's not. It's good.
Yeah, it has a lot of great moments.
But it's really long, yeah.
But it's overly long to get to those moments that you want. Like, you might as well just, like, watch a YouTube video for those.
Yeah, and it's... I fully intend on getting back into this game and playing the online for as many hours as I can fucking stomach or squeeze into my schedule. But it does have its slow points, and for that I don't know. The only reason why I would start a new story is to get that trophy for the camp request items, because I didn't fucking get enough of them in the main game, and just get like the first camps, like 3 or 4, and knock that out really quick. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty good game, and I'm glad that we played it. I'm glad that I was able to force it in somewhere, because I tried numerous times, and it was fucking knocked down and brushed aside rudely by you fucks.
It was eventually going to happen anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what you guys said, but I said if it didn't win a vote, not gonna
you and I were
going
to review it regardless. You just wanted Cam to play it too, which is a worthy goal, but I mean, we could have done it anyway.
I don't think I would have, Greg. I would have stood my ground, because I said I'm not going to review it because it lost, and because you said what I always say.
You're a fucking bitch. Yeah, like you're gonna say that just to like stop any of the other games from winning. But as soon as it gets turned around on you, you're the biggest fucking hypocrite there is.
Greg, please control yourself.
A 91, Schweiss? That's not what it said.
Yeah, it is. It said 90.86.
It's a .90.
It's rounded
00 whatever.
Craig, that's percentages. What do you?
All right.
What?
I thought there was one more 0 in there.
Oh no! If there was, it would have stayed. Spoilers, but recapping the scores. Story. No, let's do last thoughts. I think this game's definitely worth playing. I like it more than the original game. I'll say it right now. I do. I think it's a better game. I can see where the redemption might not be quite as strong, but I think everything else makes up for it, and I had a hell of a time playing this game. I loved it. I enjoyed every minute of it. It's the game I played the most last year. I intend on playing it again when I get my copy back. So pick it up if you haven't already. Give it a go.
I do think it is a worthy game to play. It did actually make me tear up at a part.
It's when John proposed to his wife, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's
his Abigail.
Fucking amazing part.
It was the Abigail's disbelief turning into the possibility of it being true. That got you, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Abigail, I still kind of don't like, but whatever.
I mean,
I hate to see bad people happy. All right,
she came off as kind of a bitch at the beginning, but like you kind of see her a bit better, like as the prologue.
Yeah, but then
on.
we just say fuck it and go do what we want to do.
I mean, yeah, you do, but that's because like you need to avenge Arthur and whatever. But anyway, it is a worthy
when
game.
Arthur started saying revenge isn't worth it, and then you go get revenge anyway on Micah, and Arthur wouldn't want you to go do it.
Yeah, he would have. He fucking hated Micah. Micah brought him into the massacre of Strawberry, which is fucking bullshit.
With Arthur's the revenge against Colm isn't worth it. Would that extend in Arthur not wanting to get revenge against Micah? Would Arthur Morgan ride with John Marston if he was still alive to go kill Micah?
Fuck yeah.
I don't think so, man.
It's
I
all
think
about
he
his
was
redemption
done.
and saying revenge isn't worth it. Doesn't matter.
Nah, Micah needs to die.
Maybe our listeners can say what they think Arthur would do.
That's the ultimate redemption for Arthur is the death of Micah.
No, the ultimate
Micah's a fucking
redemption
asshole.
for Arthur would be him not acting on vengeance.
He needs to do it.
That would be his character developing, growing, for sure.
And then John proposing to Arthur instead of Adam.
Yeah, that's the true ending.
Starting their Brokeback
the
adventure.
ultimate bromance.
Yeah.
Why can't I quit you?
Well, so yeah, I enjoyed the game. Had a few problems, but I do think that it is a game that's worth playing.
Yeah. Cameron, final thoughts?
Yeah, that's just what we discussed. It's a great game. Definitely go pick it up at whatever price.
All right, so the scores recap is as follows. Story, Craig gave it a 7, I gave it a 9, Cameron gave it an 8. Gameplay, 7 from Craig, 10 from me, 9 from Cameron. Graphics and design, 10s across the board. Sound and music, 10s across the board. Replayability, 7 from Craig, 9 from myself, 10 from Cameron.
The reason I probably gave it a 10, well, you gave it a 9, is I didn't do any of the side stuff.
So you really want to go do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. Overall scores, Craig gave it a 41, I gave it a 48, Cameron gave it a 47, for a total of 136 out of 150, which is a 91, rounds up to a 91 out of 100. Now let's look at the Metacritic score for Red Dead Redemption 2. 97 out of 100 for Red Dead 2. So it is one of the highest rated games out there right now. That's pretty fucking high. Like 90, I think God of War. What did God of War have? It was like a 95.
Yeah, I think it was.
This is a beloved game, and I can see how
the highest score a game can get on Metacritic is like a 98.
It's got a 94. So last
it went
year,
down 1%. It's
last
totally
year
95 when we reviewed it.
Yeah. Last year we had 2 fucking huge games that were just loved. This is kind of like the beautiful year, or it was the beautiful year of the PS4. Like, it's kind of getting in its final years, you know, and you're getting like the best content.
The last years of a console is always when like the shit happens.
Yeah.
That's part of what's making me not grab a PS4 Pro right now, is the end of the consoles.
Yeah, it's almost over anyway. It's like the 5 is going to blow the Pro out of the fucking water.
Is it?
I hope so.
Is it going to be is it going to be a PS5 or is it going to be something else?
I mean,
what's
they're
the
calling
next generation of consoles?
I mean, they've already announced they're working on it, and I think they did say a PS5, but I don't know.
I don't think they're going
I highly doubt they would change the name of it now. I don't think they want to pull an Xbox and be like PlayStation 1280 or whatever. You know,
yeah, PlayStation 4K. God, I could see that one though. That's probably the one I could see the most. Yeah.
Well, they did that with PS4 Pro. I mean,
yeah,
it's supposed to be the 4K thing. But they didn't call it Pro.
Damn, with all these updates to the console, let's see what happens with the console generation.
I think they're going to become like we talked about, where it's just upgrades.
Maybe. It depends on what happens. But I might actually have to look into really upgrading my TV as well to compensate.
Yeah, we've got like maybe, I don't even know if mine's 1080, my TV. I fucking no idea.
It's probably 1080. I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
So we're gonna have to upgrade though pretty soon, where 4K is going to be the future.
Depends.
It's going to be a big deal.
It really depends, because 4K
it does depend on how the market does. Because if 4K doesn't hold on,
I can see 4K gaming be very applicable with console gaming, but when it comes to PC gaming, do you want to spend thousands of dollars on a PC that'll handle 4K gaming and keeping you at a reasonable frame rate, when being able to pay a lot less to have really good frame rate at a normal HD quality. So is really 4K worth it?
Yeah, it might be one of those things that falls
prevalent
off.
as we think it will be.
For me, it's less about the graphics than it is about like the game choice.
And I feel like console gaming is a lot more about the entire experience instead of
it's
it
more
being
the experience,
the cutting
of
edge of
than,
frame rates and latency and stuff. Like
And
that.
I mean, if we wanted that, we would have thousands of dollars into PCs.
Exactly.
But we want like pretty damn good or good enough to just be like, I don't need to upgrade the computer. That is an interesting point though. Like, will 4K last? Like, I don't know. There were the HD DVD they thought was going to be the big deal.
Well, that was just because
It didn't last.
Blu-ray was able to market it better. Because it's really because PlayStation made
Blu-ray has a way
a
better
standard.
name.
They were basically well, I don't know. They made it standard with PlayStation, whereas it was an add-on for Xbox, and that's really kind of how it killed it.
It was the one time in history that like the cheaper one lost. It was one of the few times where like
not just that. It was because PlayStation. When you bought a PlayStation, you had the capability to watch Blu-ray. When you bought an Xbox, you had to buy an add-on in order to watch HD.
Did you really? Oh man, they chose a bad way to implement the losing fucking format.
The Xbox 360s.
I did
and
not.
Stuff were HD discs.
No, I know, but Cameron's saying you had to buy an extra thing to watch them.
For Blu-rays, yeah, they had like a little.
For Blu-ray, yeah. Well, I'm
yeah.
talking about the HD DVD losing
HD
to the
DVD.
Blu-ray, and I'm talking about like if 4K is going to lose to just standard 1080 definition or
You can
whatever.
totally watch DVDs on the
You
Xbox.
can, but HD DVD. The Xbox technology that came out at the same time as Blu-ray did, that died.
But they used the HD DVD technology for their games.
Yeah, it was every game had the HD. I'm just saying, like, I wonder if 4K is going to fall under that or like what's going to happen. But I agree. This is like this is a great time in the PlayStation's history. PS4 is where we're getting all these great games. And I mean, yeah, you guys, Craig might not have loved it, but like it's still impressive to look at. And it's crazy to see like how far we've come on the PlayStation 4 from some of those earlier games. Just how great and how massive they can make these things. But I think that's going to be it for this extremely long episode of Nude Clan. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought of Red Dead Redemption 2. You can tweet us at Nude Clan Podcast. You can tweet me personally at UFF Podcast.
Me at Obsidian Ba.
Me at Nude Clan Cam.
You can support the show through Patreon. Patreon.com/Ultima or game. God damn it. Sorry. Patreon.com/Nude Clan Gaming. You can support us there. Give us your goddamn money. You can subscribe to Audible. It's a great way to pass the hours at work. Audibletrial.com/Nude Clan. You can give us a direct PayPal donation if you wish. It's on our website, which has so much content, forums, lots of great shit. Amazon link you can click through, buy your shit, we get a kickback. All of that and much more. NudeClan.net. We got another podcast I think might be coming out on the network. We got to iron that out. You can check out our other shows that are currently on the network. We have Ultima Final Fantasy, where me and past host Joe go through the entire Final Fantasy series. Almost 5 years old now. Crazy, fucking nuts. A lot of podcasting from there. Craig, you and a few other of our peeps have a Dragon Quest podcast, Puff Puff Hour.
And Dragon Quest 9 will be happening soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope to join for Dragon Quest 11.
You should start that.
Yeah? Are you guys going to plow it?
It's... If we play through it like 8, which I imagine is going to happen because it's similar, then yes, we're going to plow.
Wow. Well, I hopefully will be able to join because I want to be on every show on the network at least once. We have a Godzilla podcast where past host Joe and his buddy Drew go through all the old kaiju films, old and new, and review them, do commentaries for them. You can check that out at the Godzilla podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and a song of Schweiss and Johnson for A Few Chickens More, a Game of Thrones podcast that is back up and running. We had a little bit of a delay, a month and a half off there, but we're kicking it off, and we're hoping to get through Season 5 of the hit HBO series Game of Thrones before the next season comes out. So please join us over there, and until next time, guys,
Enjoy the nude.
It's time to get good.
live always in the nude.